A woman never belongs to you. It's just your turn. You lost your edge, she lost attraction for you. That's how it works. What'd you think she was gonna do? Tell you she cheated? Men cannot afford to get complacent in relationships. Get your fat ass off the couch, start lifting weights, and learn game. You're welcome.
And now your man, Donovan Sharpe.
What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the 947th edition of TSR Live, your daily dose of toxic masculinity, misogyny, and small dick energy. It is Wednesday, March 29th of 2023. It is good to have you guys in today. As always, we are... Oops, wait a minute. Hang on a second, guys. We are multicasting live as I get the... Hang on, is it this one? There it is. There it is. There we go. As always, we are multi-streaming live simultaneously to YouTube, Rumble, and SharpeStream. So however you're watching, wherever you're watching from, thank you for making the Sharpe Reality Live a part of your daily routine. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter, at Donovan's Den, as well as Instagram, at Donovan Sharpe TSR. All right, gentlemen, the Conference of Masculine Excellence is going down from October 13th through October 15th. It is a 3-day event, and for the second straight year, we are going to have it in sunny Miami, Florida. Obviously, the fast cars, pretty girls, great food, and awesome weather made it very difficult not to descend on the 305, given the success that we had last year at the event. As always, guys, I'm going to have an absolutely stacked lineup and speakers and presenters who will all be more than willing to talk to you. They'll let you pick their brains, get whatever guidance and whatever advice you need. Now, tickets officially are already on sale. Tickets are already on sale, and keep in mind, guys, there is a hard cap on the ticket sales. We are only selling 100 tickets. We're only selling 100 tickets. 25 of those tickets will be VIP tickets. I think we might have 7 or 8 left. That's a hard cap, so make sure you guys get your tickets so that you do not miss out, because they do go very, 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 very well. So head on over to masculineexcellence.com to get your tickets today. Guys, I have over 35,000 hours of exclusive content you can't find anywhere. Included in this massive archive is more than 20 seasons of dating show breakdowns, including 3 seasons of Love is Blind, 3 seasons of Temptation Island, 2 seasons of Married at First Sight, 2 seasons of F-Boy Island, and many more. You also get access to my Red Pill movie theater breakdowns. I've broken down movies like Hitch, Think Like a Man, How to Be a Player, 40-Year-Old Virgin, and more. Also included are my collaboration podcasts like The Six, with panelists like Myron Gaines and the late, great Kevin Samuels, Elite Level Game with Coach EO, Weights and Dates, of course, also with Myron Gaines, One-on-One with Donovan Sharpe, and so much more. In addition to all of the exclusive content, you'll get chat privileges. You'll also get access to members-only events like the Dr. Phil Reaction with Rolo. There's going to be a part 2 coming out, I'm told. As well as ad-free on-demand content and video, which includes all of the podcast versions of all of my live streams, which are all free of the small talk, shilling, and me doing things you care nothing about, like my bowling scores or my girlfriend's awesome boob job. By the way, your boy shot a 224 last night as we swept the other team. For a limited time, guys, I am giving you a 3-day trial to explore and decide if a membership is right for you. To get started, go to sharpestream.com to check it out. Pardon me. Also, make sure you download the free SharpeStream app, guys. It is available for iOS and Android. Make sure you enable the push notification so you never miss another live stream again. Guys, be sure to pick up my newest free ebook, Dead Bedroom, The Cure for a Sexless Relationship. There are a lot of guys out here in sexless relationships, and I am 761% certain that some of you guys watching right now suffer from the condition known as desertius phallus, which is just a fancy way of saying, well, desert dick. If you suffer from this condition, go to tsracademy.com/free, plug in your very best email to see if this ebook is right for you. Possible side effects include increased confidence, decreased tolerance for bullshit, a better sense of well-being, and a woman who will want to have more sex than you do. If you cannot afford this ebook, don't worry, it's free. So you've got nothing to worry about. Pardon me. Let's see. I had one more. Nope, I don't think so. I think I'm good. I think I'm good there. All right. It is good to have you guys. It is good to have you guys in today. It is good to have you guys in today. Killa says if you want to talk to Nick Fuentes, go ahead and reach out to him. Yeah, I think I will. I think I think that would be a very good. I think that'd be a dynamite interview. Just given what we've learned so far. Like I said, I didn't know anything about Nick Fuentes until, Pearl called me up and told me. So we are going to get into the second part 2. We are going to get into the continuation of the breakdown of the video. But first, I want to address something that I have been seeing in my comments section and really all over the place since this whole quote-unquote bomb dropped. Shout out to Oma in the chat. Getting all these comments, I can't believe he didn't hold Pearl accountable for the horrible things she said. He justified this terrible behavior. But let me explain something to you guys. You guys that want us to hold other content creators accountable, like you want us to do that, I understand. I understand where you're coming from, but there are certain things that need to be handled behind closed doors. I'll give you the perfect example. When Myron Gaines made fun of Preacher's wife, he did the whole monkey thing. You guys remember that? Remember that? That was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen, but guess what? That was not the right thing for Myron to do. I'll never forget, I was in the shower, and I saw it. I cracked up laughing. When I got done with my shower, I thought to myself, you know what? Myron's going to get some blowback for this. So when I was out of the shower, I shot Myron a text. I said, hey, give me a call when you get a chance. So he calls and I said, yo, dude, that was really funny, but you're going to have to understand, you're going to get some blowback for this. Like, you realize that you didn't handle that the right way, don't you? And he was like, yeah, I know, but I'm tired of these dudes trashing me. And I said, look, dude, I can appreciate where you're coming from. I agree 100%. 100%. But that was the wrong way to handle this. Now, I didn't have to tell Myron this because he's smart enough to have figured this out as soon as he said it. But this is how I handle the situation, guys, behind closed doors. Myron and I, we've been friends for years. We've had plenty of disagreements. We've had shouting matches. But even after disagreements, even after highly contentious conversations, after shouting matches, we're still good friends despite us getting angry and shouting at each other. Having disagreements, having contentious discussions, confrontations. This is just a part of our friendship, guys. I don't love Myron any more or less because of it. Things don't change just because we get into a little bit of a heated discussion now and again. This is just how men do things. It's just how men do things. Yes, what Myron did as far as Preach's wife is concerned was pretty stupid. It was funny as a motherfucker, but it was still pretty stupid, and Myron has admitted as much and would tell you as much. But Myron's my brother, guys. That's my boy. We hold each other accountable behind the scenes. I am not about to come on and do a live stream and virtue signal to the world saying, well, you know, Myron's a good friend of mine, but I have to hold him accountable because he shouldn't have said that about Preach's wife. No, I'm not going to do that. We handled that behind the scenes. And it's not like Myron didn't know that that's not the way he should have handled it. He knew it as soon as he said it. I called him up. We had a conversation. That was the end of it. They kind of went through the fire after that. They dealt with those consequences, and that was that. But the point is I'm not going to come on and do some live stream and point the finger and say, shame on you, Myron Gaines. You should not have done that. That is disrespect. You should not have done that. That is highly, highly disrespectful. That is not what friends do to each other. Well, I am getting the same thing with holding Pearl accountable. You need to hold Pearl accountable. Here's a question. How the fuck do you know I haven't already talked to her about this? Huh? How do you know that I didn't have a conversation with Pearl about how she handled this interview? You see, this is how it goes with friends, guys. Not an acquaintance or someone you just happen to know, but your true ride or die, stand with you in anything friends. Think about your brother or your sister, right? Your closest friends. They go off and they do something wrong or say something stupid. They make an ass out of themselves. You don't reprimand them in public. You handle that behind closed doors. You stand united in public, then have the real conversations in private. Another example of this is DJ Academics. DJ look, I'll be the first to tell you, Ack was dead wrong for reprimanding his girl in front of all those people and cameras. What he should have done, he should have picked her narrow ass up, took her ass outside away from the cameras, and then check her. At that point, that's when he needs to say, hey, you're out of pocket. Knock it the fuck off or I'm taking you the fuck home. There's no need for him to make this big spectacle out of correcting his girl. Now, don't get me wrong. There will be times when your girl disrespects you in public, then you need to check her in public very, very quickly. But if you don't, she's going to disrespect you when you're in public. But as we all know, men and women are different. You don't correct another man in public, no. If I ever have a problem with something one of my friends said or did, and I think they need to be held accountable for something they said or did, I'm not going to do a live stream about it and hold them accountable just to appease you grandstanding motherfuckers. No. I'm going to give them a fucking call and say, hey, yo, I didn't like the way you handled that XYZ situation. Or I didn't appreciate what you said about ABC, and we handle it from there. So yes, we do hold each other accountable, but we're not going to do it in front of y'all. I'm not going to hold my best friends accountable in front of you guys just so you guys can give me a bravo. Yeah, Donovan's a real one because he held Pearl accountable. No, man. Pearl is like family to me and Devin. She's like our little sister, literally. And when you're family or good friends or friends that you consider family, when one of them fucks up in public, you stand by them in public, and then you have words behind closed doors. That's always how it goes. If my sister does or says some shit that's out of the way or off the wall, and she's getting attacked by a bunch of content creators, I'm going to stand by her, and I'm going to present that united front. Then behind closed doors, we have a candid conversation about accountability. But you motherfuckers who want me to come on and talk all this stuff about how bad or terrible Pearl's actions and behaviors were, that is a conversation between me and her. And you guys don't need to be privy to that, and you don't have, and to be honest with you don't have a right to be privy to that. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a shit. Conversations between me and mine are none of your business. Nah, what you motherfuckers wanted was just more drama. That's what it was. You just want more controversy, more red meat. Ooh, did you hear what Donovan said about Pearl? He held her accountable in public. He's a real one. No, fuck that and fuck you. Yes, we do hold each other accountable, but we are not about to do it in public. And we're damn sure, pardon me, we're damn sure not going to put on a show just to appease you virtue signaling motherfuckers. So you guys who complain about the fact that there's so much divisiveness in the manosphere and this and that, but then you want us to hold each other accountable in public? Not going to happen. You're not going to have it both ways. And if you're the kind of person that's looking for me to publicly hold my friends accountable because that will show you how real of a man I am, following the wrong guy. Pearl Davis is a grown fucking woman. I personally didn't have any problem with how she handled things so far, and I have very little reason to believe that I will when I finish reacting to the interview. Pearl admits to not having brushed up on who Nick Fuentes was, guys. She owned up to saying things in poor taste, and she took accountability for her role in the controversial turn the interview took. But if I have a problem with anything she does or says, then I will talk to her about it alone, not in public. I'm not going to hold her accountable in front of you guys just to put on a show. Not going to do that just to show you how outraged and virtuous I am. No, that is going to be a conversation we have behind closed doors. And this is what your true friends do. So if you guys want us to hold each other accountable publicly, trust me, there's a whole other part of the manosphere that does a lot of public accounting. There's plenty of stuff out there, but you will not be getting it here, and I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. My conversations with my friends and my family, again, is none of your fucking business. And that is the memo. All right, good stuff. Off to a rousing start on the show. 376 people watching. Let me see how many likes we've got. Yeah, 376 people watching. I've got 124 likes. I need 250 likes in the next 10 minutes, y'all. I need 250 likes in the next 10 minutes, or I am shutting down the chat. I am shutting down the chat. All right, let me read these super chats, and then we will absolutely get back to it. Commando Spawn with the $5 super chat says, I have a videotape recording on No Jumper of her saying Nick Fuentes is hot. Okay, so what's the point? So she said Nick Fuentes is hot. All right, great. 65 with the €2 super chat says, do you think collecting action figures is embarrassing? Jesus. I don't think so. We all have quirky habits that we have. We all nerd out in our own way. So nah, I don't think it is. It's not something that I'm a fan of, but you know, I have weird, quirky habits too. You know, like I like to garden, you know. I love to garden. I'm a flower nerd. I'm also let's see, what else? What are some other embarrassing non-alpha beta traits that I happen to have? I don't know. Like I have different animal voices. You know. That's just, you know, I talk sweet to animals, as Devin outed me before. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Dick Maximus with the $2 super chat says, careful, Donovan. The hyenas will say you off code. I'm not a part of their code. I'm not a part of that community. Like I said yesterday, the black community excommunicated me a long time ago. I don't give a fuck what I don't give a fuck what them niggas think. They can all go eat a dick as far as I'm concerned. I don't give a shit. I truthfully, I really just don't give a shit. I told you guys yesterday about my experience in Atlanta. You guys remember, I talked about the fact that I've done a lot of traveling in my life, right? And there's always certain challenges that you will inevitably meet when you travel for business, right? Sometimes an elevator's out, sometimes they don't have the equipment, maybe the business center is not as up to snuff as it should be, right? Maybe there's faulty equipment, maybe somebody. These are all isolated incidents for the most part. But in Atlanta, we encountered every single challenge there was. Every single challenge. Guys, there's no challenge that's insurmountable. All right? There's no challenge. If you forget something at home, you can always go buy something. All right? If you forget something that you're supposed to bring at home, you go buy something. That's just how it is. You can DoorDash it, Instacart it, whatever the case may be. Guys, we bought 3 monitors. I went out and got one myself. That didn't work because I was given the wrong information. Then Devin Instacarted monitor number 1, cracked. Monitor number 2 cracked, and then the screen went out. We're lucky we even got the podcast on video, guys. I can't believe we even got the podcast on video. To be perfectly honest with you, hang on a second. There we go. I can't let my boy B-Doc. I can't let B-Doc get left out. Can't have that at all. Can't have that at all. No, sir. No, sir. Oh, wow. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. Like staying off code. No. Dude, they're not a part of my code. Or whatever. Like, I understand what they're talking about. Like in the manosphere, there are things that are on code, off code, whatever the case may be. I don't give a fuck what them niggas think, man. They don't consider me to be a part of the black community in the first place. So what the fuck? Why the fuck should I care what they think about what I think? Fuck them. Like seriously, like fuck them. Let's give me a few here. I'm doing a little bit of There we go. Sorry about that, y'all. I got to make sure everybody can see everything. I'm gonna read a couple more super chats. Then we'll continue. There we go. Brian Dawkins in the house. Eben Zur with the $5 super chat says, fire memo, all of these sanctimonious virtue signaling content creators will sacrifice friendships for the greater good of holding accountable. Exactly. If I've got a problem, like if Jap says something that I have a problem with, I'm not going to run to the internet and talk about it. I'm going to give Jap a call. If Hotep, anybody, like that's just how it goes. No, you guys don't give a shit about somebody being held accountable. You just want drama. You want to see, you want the red meat, you want the internet drama, you want the beef. That's what you want. That's what you want. And I'm not going to give it to you. I don't give a shit. Sorry. Jason Burris with the $2 super chat says, you don't owe anyone anything. Keep it up, bro. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Jaybird3rd, $5 super chat says, MTR was feeling pressure from his viewers/friends, so he folded like a cheap lawn chair and threw a good friend and ally under the bus. Done with him. I like MTR. MTR is a good dude. He's always been respectful to me, as far as I know. I would not have done what he did. That's really all I have to say about it. I mean, I would not. We're two different people. We handle things in different ways. If, look, I can understand why you would choose not to follow MTR because of that. I get it. And I'm not saying, well, I wouldn't have done what he did as a way to virtue signal. That's just not how I roll, man. That's not how I operate. Like anybody that I am friends with, I am ride or fucking die. Even at my own detriment. It is what it is. It is what it is, man. All right. Let me bring up the video here. Nick Fuentes. There he is. Got it right back to the point to where it was last time. There we go. By the way, quick announcement, and you guys have 2 minutes and 50 seconds to get me to now 300 likes. You guys have 2 minutes and 45 seconds to get me 91 more likes. We got to get these likes up, guys. That's the only dude. This is the metric that YouTube relies on the most. Is the like button. The like button is, dude. YouTube doesn't pay you on super chats, or YouTube doesn't push stuff up in the algorithm because of super chats. They push stuff up in the algorithm because of the likes. They don't push it up because of views. They push it up because of the likes. Hit the like button, guys. You got 2 minutes and 14 seconds to get me to 300 likes, or I am shutting down the chat until I get there. All right. Okay. Let's go to the breakdown here. Let me go ahead and put in my earbuds. Let me go ahead and put in my earbuds, and all right, very nice. All right, and away. Let me make sure I don't blow up my ears here.
It's not, and that.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry about that, guys. There we are.
Cultural erasure is happening everywhere in America. Like Little Italy in Chicago, which is where my great-grandfather was a shoemaker and everything. It's completely different now. It's been transformed. And I don't think that that's necessarily a good thing. All this, when people say that's being diversified, there is a benefit there. I'm not going to stand here and say that diversity doesn't have benefits. Like, there is the good food, but it does.
Diversity has benefits. See? He's talking about the fact that diversity has benefits. Then he said, there's the good food. Oh my God, that's racist. That's just, again, this is just the way he talks, guys. He just sat here and said, diversity has its benefits.
Come without a cost.
And a good producer.
There you go.
And a great producer. And a charming producer. But,
do you see? These are belly laughs. These are cheeky comments, guys. These are cheeky comments. He laughed the exact same way when they talked about, well, the reason he was late was because he was black. It's the same thing. I think we have to look at intent. You think, number one, we have to look at intent, and number two, we have to be honest. We know Pearl, dude, these motherfuckers know Pearl is not a racist. They're just pretending she's a racist to have something to talk about. Oh, I forgot to do research on Jason Black. I forgot to do the research on Jason Black, y'all. Somebody's just gonna have to somebody in the chat fill me in on who he is, because I still have no idea who he is, and I thought I would have time to do a little bit of research on him. I haven't, so please tell me. I would greatly appreciate it.
Let him in, whoever the new president is. Let him in. I'll let you on my show. I'll campaign.
Yeah, just don't tell them that they know me. You need to put on a watch list or something.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know. Let's not.
This guy's crazy.
Crazy.
We don't like him.
Yeah, we don't.
See, they're picking fun at each other. They're picking fun at him. The same way he says, well, yeah, look, I'm a racist and blah, 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 blah. Now, the Holocaust denier thing, that's a little much. I don't know if there's any evidence that he ever really denied the Holocaust. And as you guys have seen, I have turned off the chat because I am at 273 likes and I need to be at 300. So I need 27 more likes to turn the chat back on, but that's the way this goes.
But it gets to the idea, even with this, even when we talked about with the economics argument of it, capitalism is based on creative destruction is one of the terms, which is that when innovation comes, it destroys what existed previously. Mm-hmm. The Model T destroyed the horse industry, the horse situation. And the same is true of immigration. It's like, and to a lesser extent, but it's an analogy. Yeah, these rapid transformations are happening, and what has changed? It's destroying the way things used to be. And you can have a little bit of that, but you can't have a lot of it rapidly in every sector, which is what's happening.
You can have a lot of it in every sector. That's exactly what's happening. It's just that Nick doesn't agree with the result, and that's fine. What Nick is essentially saying here is he is saying, okay, listen, immigration is fine, diversity is fine, but if it happens too much too fast in every sector, it starts to change the very fabric of America. I would agree with that, but I don't see anything wrong with it, at least not now. Right? I'm a person of color, so yeah, me personally, I would like to see more diversity. So I understand, what Nick is talking about here, guys, what makes us think that there's not a country in Africa that also has strict immigration? Let's go to Japan. Japan has extremely, extremely strict immigration laws, as we need 3 more likes to get to 300 so the chat can turn back on. The Japanese people, the Japanese government is very, very selective about who they let into their country as residents. Nobody calls them racist. Right? Their entire country is very, very discriminatory about who they let into the country. That's just how it goes.
Technologically, economically, in terms of...
Oh, that's cute. Now I have people... This is so funny. Now I have people unliking the video. Perfect. Well, listen, you Ninja Watchers are going to have to... You guys are going to have to make up for these trolls that are in here. Okay, now we're back up to 305. Got it. Okay. All right. Let's continue.
Demographics,
what
culturally.
Do you mean that's what's happening?
That's what's happening in America. Mm-hmm. What's happening is a rapid pace of change in everything. Like human beings 100 years ago were on a horse and buggy, and everybody believed in God, and when women wore veils in church. And look at what it's like today.
You could get a virgin bride.
Yeah, for real. Now it's not that way. So it's this...
Oh, so you're saying that everything's changing too fast.
Yeah.
In your point of view, and you think that's a bad...
In your point of view, and you think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, because that's what being a conservative is all about.
Well, because I'm kind of torn. On one hand, I do feel like you should adapt with the market.
Thank you.
It's kind of like, is technological advancement always a bad thing? I don't necessarily think.
No, it's not always a bad thing. There are good and bad things that come with technological advances. The smartphone has revolutionized, the internet has revolutionized, it's changed the world. Thanks to the internet, I can make a living anywhere I go. Thanks to the internet, I have made a crap load of money, and I can probably retire by the time I'm 50. But there are also downsides to the internet, right? The exploitation of people, young people, minors, right? Spicy movies, OnlyFans, etc., etc. That's how that goes, right? The smartphone. Now we can communicate with anybody, anywhere. The downside, dating apps, cheating, infidelity. These are the unintended consequences of the internet and the smartphone. Well, it's the same thing as diversity. Some people will like the unintended consequences, others won't. I happen to like the unintended consequences. Nick Fuentes doesn't. That doesn't make him a racist, guys, at least not as far as I'm concerned. At least not as far as I'm concerned. At this point, I haven't heard anything in this interview that would say to me that Nick is a racist. It sounds like he is a staunch nationalist for sure. He is definitely conservative. He wants to conserve the culture of America. That's where the root, the root word conservative comes from. They want to conserve the fabric of our country. Whereas liberals, hey, let's make a change. Now me, politically, I don't know if I'm conservative or liberal. I do know this. I'm probably more towards the center, but I do skew to the right.
It's bad, but I can see what you're saying when you have a complete shift in values.
Well, it's about all of it. It's about fundamentally what being a conservative is about is saying that, because liberals will say, "Oh, conservatives are superstitious. They're ignorant. That's their big argument against religion, is that it's superstition and it's sort of like vestigial, meaning it's sort of like outlived its purpose." What a conservative would say broadly is that the society that we have because of those traditions, like the rituals, the things we used to do. Maybe people don't understand why we had them or why they worked, but they worked by virtue of the fact that they survived and they're still here. And that's not to say that we shouldn't change, because you do sometimes have to change. And I agree with you. I think technological progress is a good thing sometimes, but I don't believe in this religion of progress that it's always a good thing. Bigger, faster, more diverse.
Because then it's like, what? You're doing things inefficiently for no reason?
Well, it's not for no reason.
I'm just thinking of this in my
Yeah, that's a good question. Why are we going to do things inefficiently for no reason? Like, what are we doing?
Personal life in my business. Why would I do something the slow way?
Right.
In the name of what? Culture?
Yeah,
here's
conservatism.
Why. Check this out. It's like, you look at a smartphone.
Right.
Smartphone is the most amazing tool that mankind has ever invented.
Yep.
Like, without a question. But look at what
this dude is literally going to say exactly what I just did.
It's doing to young people now.
Oh
like, could
God.
you think of a reason why it'd be better to not give a kid a smartphone until they're like an adult and give them a dumb phone instead?
Okay.
Or even why you might use a dumb phone as an adult, for that matter. Because smartphones, while they can be very effective, they also can be very addictive, and there's all kinds of problems associated with it. And so...
Man, dude, this is he just echoed what I just echoed. It makes perfect sense. There are good and bad things to advancements. He just doesn't like where he thinks the advancements are headed. I happen to disagree with him. That doesn't mean he's a racist, and that doesn't mean that I hate this guy.
It's something about the old way is the way that survived, and again, that's not. It's a heuristic. It's not something that applies, or it's not an ironclad law.
And when he says survived, what he means is exist. If the world becomes like this big melting pot and everybody, all races mix and all that good stuff, that's not going to affect our survival. The human race will survive, just not in the way that certain races want it to survive.
That says, we can never change, and it's not about rigidity. It's about saying that we ought to be very judicious and careful about the changes that we make and the decisions we make about and across the board.
That's fair.
It's like capitalism, globalization, secularization, liberalization, it is fundamentally changing society. And you look around and we're in London right now. Do we love the society that all of that is produced? Because this is the epicenter of it. And it's like, when you put all that together, does this create a heaven?
Yeah, Spartan Existence says he wants America to stay majority white. Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. But that doesn't make him a racist, guys. That doesn't make him a racist. If a content creator says, I don't collaborate with white people, we don't call him a racist for that, do we? But if a white content creator says, well, I don't want to collaborate with black people, dude, they're canceled immediately. What's the difference? Nick Fuentes wants America to be the majority white. He does. Does it mean that's going to happen? No. Right? Does it mean it's not going to happen? No, it doesn't. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in America over the next 100 years in terms of racial diversity. He's just like, look, I'm a white guy, and a lot of you guys are like, he's Italian, he's not white. Guys, Italians are white. Like, dude, come on. You guys got to stay off Nigatube. You guys got to stay off Nigatube. As far as Nigatube is concerned, if you're not black, you're white. I remember I got into this one discussion with this bitch I used to work with at the call center. So I was talking about how hot Kim Kardashian was. And she's like, you niggas and these white girls. I'm like, Kim Kardashian is not white. She's like, no, if she's black, she's white. Or she's not black, she's white. I was like, you gotta be. I said, so you think Kim K is a white girl? She says, yeah, that's the way all black girls think. I hope she wasn't right. But that appears to be the general mindset over on Nigatube.
On Earth, is this the best place in the world?
Mm-hmm. Why do you say London's the epicenter of that?
Well, because London was the seat of the British Empire, and they were behind the liberalization of liberalism. America is the product of Britain.
But I'm just thinking, who decides what technology goes forward and what doesn't?
Centropy says he specifically said earlier that it's not because of superiority, it's just the culture that he prefers. Exactly. Nick Fuentes has white sensibilities. Okay? He has white sensibilities. And a person who has white sensibilities is going to be more comfortable in a culture where the majority of the population shares his sensibilities. That's not a bad thing. Look, a 300-pound woman wanting a guy with, the 6'6" stats, 6'6" ripped, 6-foot dick, 6 figures, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with her wanting a man that's out of her league. Doesn't mean she's going to get it. Doesn't mean that she's, racist against average guys. No. She's a below average woman who wants an above average man. It is what it is.
The society.
Okay, how would you do that?
Through the government. That's right, why I'm
so then you have politicians dictating what's allowed and what isn't. Like, I just kind of...
Yeah, you guys, Italians have the blood of Moors, blacks in their veins. He's 1/4 Mexican. Guys, if Nick Fuentes gets pulled over, right, an officer sees him as a white man. That's just all there is to it. They're not going to see him as a quarter Mexican or part. No, they're going to see him. He looks, acts, and talks like a white guy. He has white guy sensibilities. He was raised in the suburbs of Chicago. So you guys can try to disqualify his whiteness. I mean, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. I mean, he is who he wants to be. If he thinks of himself as a white guy, I don't have a problem with that. I don't give a shit.
I just don't know how you would do that in an effective way.
That's the question.
Yeah, because then it's like, what are the politicians God? You're going to tell me I can't use my smartphone?
Right. Well, and that's the thing. That's a valid point, but that is really, that's kind of the tension. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the first person to come up with.
Grow Hunt Kill Can Eat says, yes, we do. Look at what is happening in Europe with mass immigration. You can already see problems. The same will happen in Canada and the U.S. I would agree with that. I would agree. Listen, what's going on in Europe because of the mass immigration, it's changing the fabric of these countries. It really, really is.
But that is the tension, and that. But I am like a big government, like statist. Like I think that America should
Oh, I am anti-big government. I am anti-big government. That's a very liberal point of view that he has. So that's where we diverge as far as that's concerned.
have something like a king, and
A king?
yeah,
An
Okay,
aristocracy.
go on.
something like that.
You don't believe in elected officials?
Well, I don't know if I don't believe in elected officials, but I certainly don't believe in democracy.
What?
Like,
Oh my gosh.
See, he doesn't believe in democracy. But democracy is the reason why he's able to travel around and have these conversations. Sometimes I just think that, and I don't know if he really doesn't believe in democracy or not, but guys, like, this is his shtick. This is his shtick. He says, I don't believe in democracy. So he's going on about how immigration is going to change the fabric of America, and is it really your home anymore? Then in the same breath says, I don't believe in democracy. Guys, a lot of the stuff he says is just for shock value. And you can tell by the look on his face that he likes to get that reaction. Watch this. Watch him look. Watch this is funny. So watch what he says.
believe in elected officials, but
Now watch Pearl's reaction and watch his reaction to Pearl's reaction. He likes it.
I certainly don't believe in democracy.
Watch.
What?
Like,
Oh
Look,
my gosh.
Look, he's like, ha ha, I did it again. I did it again. Ha 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 ha. It is what it is, man. Does he really believe in, does he not believe in democracy? I don't know. I doubt it, but I don't know the kid. But there you go, guys. He just likes to say shocking things.
Okay.
that's like a
Is
whole.
that true conservatism?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me why.
Yeah, that's a,
Here's
yeah.
why. It's because
Yeah, good question, Pearl. How is not believing in democracy conservatism?
what you have right now is not the idea behind democracy. What is democracy? Rule by the people. You know,
Right.
demos is people. It's rule by the people. That's not really what we have, though. You know, the UK is a democracy. The European Union is all democracies, but it's funny, in political science textbooks, they say, well, there's a slight problem. We have this democracy deficit, which is their nice way of saying it's not democratic at all, because they elect European Union Parliament members, but the members don't get to create the legislation. The European Commission creates the legislation, and the European Commission's not an elected body. And so, and even in the
Okay, so technically, what he is describing is not democracy, but that's what we sign up for in America. Our elected officials do what is the will of the people, presumably. That's democracy.
United Kingdom, would anybody say they really feel like their voice is being heard? I mean, maybe with Brexit, but that was a referendum. In America, do we really feel like Americans are leading America? No. Politicians
Who
are
is
leading.
the Jews?
Well, that's part of it. But
Is that what you're saying?
well,
You see how she's jugging? Oh, is it the Jews? Yeah, let's see if he can get canceled for something else. All in good fun, guys.
I would say I'm talking about
If we can't joke about race, if we can't joke about race, guys, we're lost, man. We're lost. Dude, my Jewish friends, Adam Sosnick, Rafi, I always forget his last name. Dude, they're both Jewish. They make Jewish jokes about themselves all the time.
the structure of it.
Right.
The structure of it is it's really more like an oligarchy. It's really more like the media has a big role, and the capitalist class, you know, the big money people.
My face is your toilet, says she repeats the same talking points. Ay, ay, ay. Somebody ban Tony Johnson. Somebody ban Tony Johnson. He's made his way in here again. And he is spouting off. This dude is spouting off the same criticisms, spouting off the old criticisms of Pearl. Get him out of here.
That put up all the money for the campaigns,
trash.
lobbyists.
I almost think women.
Jay Blaze, $2 super chat says, "Is Nick a right-wing destiny? I'm leaning so. I don't know. He might be.
Female government, gynocracy.
A bit.
Kind
Nick, that's called a gynocracy. Come on now.
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like the outcomes would be better if women didn't vote. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey,
That's
no disagreement.
Because a lot of these companies can influence women in a way they can't influence men. I mean, we make 70 to 80% of consumer buying decisions.
Right. Yeah.
So we're a lot more influenced by the media than, I mean, men have video game addictions. We have social media addictions.
Right.
So we're a lot more influenced by those media companies than men are. And so I almost think women are a tool that these companies use in order to have more power and influence.
That's 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
And that is
that makes
women were kind of like the foot in the door of these types because, men are like controlled
That's why feminism has flourished the way it has.
by their girlfriends and they're controlled by their wives, especially now. And I hate that. They get bossed around.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that'll be the day. If I ever say that, somebody please kill me.
Wow, listen to that. Did you guys hear that? Happy wife, happy life. He said let's listen to that again.
Yeah, that'll be the day. If I ever say that, somebody please kill me.
There you go. So Nick Fuentes apparently has a little bit of red pill awareness, which I guess shouldn't be surprising given the stereotypes of red pill guys.
And what makes us happy? We don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. Totally irrational.
Ask a girl that's mad at her boyfriend, what would make you happy in this situation? They never know.
Yep.
I was telling this to one of my girlfriends. I was like, she was complaining about her boyfriend. I'm like, what could he do to make you like this problem go away?
Yep. They don't know.
And it's nothing. They just want to complain.
They don't want to know. Or they don't know where they want to go to eat. They don't know where I'm like, whenever I get lunch with my mom, I'm like, okay, where do you want to eat? I don't know, and it turns into some big ordeal. So, but they are like the beachhead of these groups that want to control us, and yeah, they do all happen to be Jewish for that matter, but not all of them, a lot of them.
Okay. So back to the king.
Okay.
Why do you think we need so you're saying right now that Americans and British people don't feel actually
are with the N5.5.5 NZs says in quote democracy the media owners basically decide which political opinions are which political opinions are acceptable to hold and who is allowed to hold power. Propaganda works. Yes.
Represented by the government.
Well, it's not really a government that is by the people. Okay. What it turns out is that you get these interest groups vying for power, and they just kind of
lobbyists.
It's sort of like they launder their decisions through the people. So they kind of like make a decision of what they want to do, and then it's just kind of a matter of like programming the people with media to get them to then support it.
So the special interest groups that often are run by the Jews, is what you're saying.
Which is true, yeah.
They basically make the decisions when it comes to politics, and they influence, let's be honest, women.
Yeah, well, men too. Men are very influenceable, but less so than women.
Yes,
yeah, they're only influenced by...
Do you see?
By the women.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. That's why people didn't like Trump.
Men will do
my
a lot
wife is mad at me.
Men will do a lot to get laid.
Yeah, for real.
Yes, we will.
So that's why you don't think it's by the people.
Yeah, and so what you really need, the reason why I'm for a king is because, look at like Putin as a good example, is why I'm pro-Putin. He is clearly the despot of Russia. He's like the king, the dictator of Russia. And a lot of people say, what? I can't imagine living in a country where, it's tyrannical like that. Well, it's actually very similar. Like I've never lived in Russia, but
it's similar. Even if it's similar, Nick, it's not the same. Come on, man. Now see, this is where I disagree. I think he agrees with some of Putin's character traits, right? But he doesn't want America to become like Russia. That's ridiculous.
It actually seems quite similar. Like, you get arrested in the United Kingdom for saying...
That badass toner says, should we lose our culture for the sake of diversity? I don't think that's an answerable question. I don't think that is an answerable question at all. We might lose our culture for the sake of diversity, but I don't know what the answer to that question is, right? And I mean, sometimes diversity can be a part of the culture, But that's just the way these things go sometimes.
Stuff I say on my show every night for hate speech, and I was at the Capitol on January 6th, and, which is like an anti-government thing, and I didn't break any laws, but I still got harassed by the government. I got put in a no-fly list. They froze my bank accounts, all that.
Oh, so all of that was from the Charlottesville?
No, I was from the Capitol.
No, the Capitol.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I get these events all confused. I'm not. Okay. So that's later.
Yes.
Well, we'll get to that. Okay.
Yeah.
But you think a king. So sorry, keep going.
Yeah. So the point is that the level of
Terrell Clark says, Pearl knows next time she goes live, she will get dragged. Terrell, you're cute, buddy. But for all of you, for niggas like you, Terrell, who think that Pearl has gone and run and hide because she's afraid she's going to get dragged, you got another thing coming, bruh. You got another thing coming, bruh. You got another thing coming. Stay tuned.
Despotism. The structure of the government doesn't have a lot to do with the level of despotism. In other words, these countries we live in now, which we consider so free, are actually not as free as we really think. Because we talk about like China, social credit score in China, facial recognition, etc. You kind of have a social credit score in America, what you'll find. Like me, because what do you get in trouble for in China? Being against the government. Okay, I'm against the government in America. I'm banned from PayPal. I'm banned from having a checking account. I'm put on a no-fly list, etc. It's actually quite similar. And so the point is, what a king does is he eliminates corruption, because a king set against these oligarchical interests, the rich billionaires or the...
Terrell, shut the fuck up, nigga. Get out of here. Can't stand you niggas in here. Unintelligent ass niggas, man. Oh, please, she's the one showing her true colors, not me. Nigga, fuck you.
In the former or the...
I love black people, but I hate niggas like Terrell Clark, man. Hate you, dude, hate you emotional ass niggas. And you want to know something? It takes one to know one. It takes one to know one, y'all. Because me, I'm an emotional ass nigga too. And the reason why is because I was essentially raised by a single mother. I'm 45 years old and I'm still learning how to control my reactions and emotions. But I'm not about to just make some Pearl is racist because she talked to a racist. Nah, bruh. Nah, that's lazy and stupid. I'm a black man. I am not a nigga.
Soviet Union, you had all these guys that bought off the state industries. You had a dictator fighting against them for power. And, well, the dictator won. Putin won. And so now...
Aaron, stop with the all caps, please. Stop with the all caps, bro.
All these powerful groups serve the Russian government. And if you have a good guy like Putin at the head of it, who is trying to bring glory to Russia and protect his people and elevate the standard of living, guess what? Everybody wins. And so the purpose of a king is you got to have a guy who he learns to rule at a young age. He's a master of politics. He's the responsible, accountable person for what goes on in the country. If everybody has a problem, blame the king. And he is working in the best interest of the nation.
But what if he doesn't represent the people's interests?
Well, then you get like what you have in America.
What do you mean?
A democracy.
You get a government that doesn't represent the people's interest. And then
a democracy.
Horrible things happen.
Well, but I'm saying, wouldn't the same thing happen with the king?
Well, yeah.
Or couldn't it?
It could.
Yeah.
But the point is that...
But the difference is, in a democracy, we can elect them out of office.
There you go.
And you could argue that, okay...
See, what Pearl is saying is that, listen, man, kings can be just as corrupt as politicians, and they have been. The difference is, you have to overthrow the king to get him out of there. In a democracy, we can vote them out of office. This is why democracy is better than an aristocracy.
You're influenced by the media, right, and special interest groups, but arguably some people say steal an election. However, at the end of the day, it's still your choice who you vote for.
Yeah, but see, the problem is that it doesn't really... That's the idea in theory, and that's part of like this super prison that we live in is...
What do you mean super prison?
Like, you can be in a prison, and then you can be in like like the country is a prison and like you're in like a mental prison, which is the idea that like
look at his facial expression as he explains this. Like, I understand what he's trying to say, but his facial expression knows that this is kind of a reach, but it is kind of apropos. Watch.
And then you can be in like, like the country is a prison.
You see? He's like, look, I know this is a flimsy comparison. Like, we're in a prison. You're in your country that's a prison mentally. Right? He knows, all right, this is a stretch, but stay with me. I'm gonna try to draw comparisons. Come on.
Like you're in like a mental prison, which is the idea that like we think we're free, but we're really not. And not like I'm some big freedom fighter or something, but what I mean by that is we don't even understand the extent to which like our government doesn't represent us for the reason that you just said, because everybody has it in their head that, oh, if we don't like the government, we'll just vote them out. And it's like, that's a nice idea, but when have we ever voted out like the bad things that are going on in our country? The Iraq War was very unpopular. It's still going
Which one?
on. It was unpopular 15 years ago.
I thought it was over. It's still going on.
Still going on. We're still there.
I don't know. That's why I say I don't know. I do not understand foreign policy.
I mean, they wound it down to a considerable degree, but like in 2008, Obama wins going against the war. So what happened in 2012? 2000, what was it? In 2011, he winds it down. 2014, boom, ISIS. ISIS was created by
that led to his re-election in 12
by America and Israel. That was the reason why you look skeptical.
No, I'm just what? ISIS was created by America and Israel.
Yeah.
Okay.
To destabilize Syria and also
Pound 147 says, "Can we use God as our king?" No. Because God is he is a disembodied deity. We can't physically hear what he says. If God is our king, then anybody can say, well, God told me to do X, Y, and Z. Sorry.
In my opinion, to keep us there in Iraq. But either way, it's like, look, the point is, even if maybe that's a little far-fetched, but look, that is my belief.
Delilah says, why is Pearl dumbing herself down? She's not. She's asking honest, genuine questions. There are some things she knows and some things she doesn't. It's so funny. Everybody, you guys try to crack on somebody both ways, right? She's damned if she does, damned if she doesn't. Pearl is a stupid bitch. She doesn't have any original arguments, blah, 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 blah. But then in the same breath, oh, she dumbs herself down. She's a chameleon. She's not as naive and innocent as she comes off. Which is it? Which is it, guys? Does she know everything, or is she a dumbass? It's almost all the time. It is almost all the time somewhere in the middle. Yes, sometimes Pearl will act like she does not know as much as she does in order to get Nick to say what she's thinking. She is the interviewer. She's not the star of the show. She brought Nick on for his controversial opinions and views. That's what she brought him on for, right? So just because she knows a little bit about a little bit doesn't mean that she is somehow dumbing herself down. It's ridiculous. It's the same idiots that used to make fun of George Bush for being a stupid president, right? Oh, he's such a dumb president. But then those same people said that he masterminded 9/11. So which is it? Did he orchestrate the worst terrorist attack on U.S. soil in history, or is he a dumbass? Like, you can't have it both ways. It just doesn't work that way. You can't call Pearl dumb, but then accuse her of dumbing herself down. It's either one or the other.
But we were in Iraq, and by the way, under false pretenses. They told us we're there because...
For the nuclear weapons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, she knows a little bit.
And though Saddam has nuclear weapons, and he was responsible for 9/11, all the stuff that wasn't true. And we're there. Obama gets elected to pull us out. He pulls us out. And then what happened? Well, they came up with a reason to keep us there, which was ISIS. And, some people believe it's organic or not in 2013. But they came up with another reason to keep us there in perpetuity. Trump gets elected. Basically the same thing. Trump in the primary debates said,
I am not discussing 9/11, guys. I'm not looking up anything. I'm not doing that. Not doing it. I'm not having that discussion.
With Jeb Bush, it was a mistake to go into Iraq. You said there were weapons of mass destruction. There weren't any. George Bush should have been impeached. That was treason. He gets elected. Guess what they don't do? Pull out of Iraq. He tried. He tried to pull us out of those wars. And it came down to, in the last few weeks of his first term in 2020, instruction went out to the generals that said, pull us out of Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, South Korea, Germany. You know what the generals said? No, we will not carry out the order. Now, the president's the chief, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He's the head. Like, he's the supreme leader of the military because he's a civilian, head of the civilian government. The military refused to carry out the order. So it's like, that's just one example of something where it's like, hey, nice idea in a democracy. If you don't like what's going on, you vote, and we all get to make a decision. Well, Americans voted against the Iraq War in 1, 2, 3 elections. And we're still there 20 years later.
And you think that's because of the special interest groups? Like, wouldn't that military officer get fired then? You would think.
Mean? You see, she's asking honest, genuine questions because she is genuinely interested and curious. She knows a little bit, but she doesn't know as much as Nick, guys. Clearly.
He wasn't listening to the commander-in-chief?
Who's going to fire him?
The commander-in-chief? No?
No. Because the problem is, well, number one, it was too late at that point.
Right. He was on his way out.
Again, this is a very interesting discussion, but I have yet to see or hear anything that would lead me to believe that Nick Fuentes is racist or does not like black people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, what we found out with the Trump presidency, because the Trump presidency was like, it was like an asteroid hitting democracy, because it was a real test. It was like, here's a guy that was opposed by all of the institutions, the media, the Democrats, Republicans, even Fox News was against him, actually.
Wow,
everybody was
that.
against him, and he won. And that means that, like, they're still counting our votes, and the result of the election was respected, so that's a good sign. But he gets in there, and he was totally sabotaged by his own personnel, by the congressional leadership, by the deep state, the bureaucrats that run the executive branch. And at the end of it...
I don't know.
Okay.
But
See? She's like, no, I don't know. That Pearl does not pretend to know something she doesn't.
Well, like the IRS and the Defense Department, the State Department, all because the executive branch, the president changes, but the people that work in these branches of government, most of them, they stay for life.
And how was he sabotaged by them?
So, like, there was a New York Times article that came out, front page editorial, where a guy said, I am the deep state. I'm working in the Trump administration, and every day I am sabotaging his efforts. So, like, a lot of these guys that work in the departments just work.
DBZ Hung says, America was founded as a constitutional republic by the founding fathers to give a voice to the individual, not a direct democracy that led to tyranny. Fine. Guys, I'm not, like, this is not my lane. Like, I get it, but I am incapable of getting into discussions about this kind of thing. I'm not scholarly enough.
Carrying out his policies. Because they didn't believe in it. They weren't ideologically pro-Trump. So, there's about like 2,000 or 4,000 people that get turned over from administration to administration.
So the president doesn't have as much influence as we think.
Yeah.
And
yes, I think that's obvious.
People think they're voting in a president, and then we think we have more influence. But if his own administration isn't carrying out what he says to do, how much can he really do?
Exactly.
And that's your point when you're saying, at least with a king,
you know who's in charge.
That makes sense. I think we all know that the president is not really as influential as, we always say the president's a figurehead. A king is not a figurehead. So I understand that. So from his argument standpoint, okay, that makes sense in terms of why he thinks that this is not a real direct democracy.
Okay. Because you're saying that the people that are at the White House that are not being turned over have more power and influence than the actual president.
Yeah.
So therefore, we don't really have a democracy.
There you go. There you go.
They're the ones influencing everything.
Right. And the problem with that is that the problem is not that we don't have a democracy. The problem is that the people that are making the decisions are unknown to us, and because they're unknown, they're unaccountable, and then there's no way to overturn them. Because
we don't know who they are.
The people that were the architects of the Iraq War in the 90s, they're still the same people there today. Even though their decisions have been repudiated over and over and are so unpopular, they're still there working there making those decisions. But we're given this illusion that there is this turnover happening in the leadership. And so Putin talks about this too. He did this big thing with Oliver Stone, and he said, and he's been on record many times saying that America is run by this permanent bureaucratic class in Washington, D.C., and they're the real ones making the decision. That's the real seat of power.
What would be an example of their job title, say? So if I wanted to put names and faces to these people,
here we go.
So like everybody in the State Department, like people. What
do you mean by the State Department?
So the U.S. Department of State, that's like the Foreign Ministry of America. So they run the embassies. They do the diplomacy with all the foreign capitals.
And would that also include like the FBI? Because aren't they saying the FBI is corrupted too?
The FBI is part of the intelligence community.
Yeah, FBI, CIA.
But they're part of that as well.
Okay.
But there's different. But the point is like the president sits at the top of the executive branch. The executive performs the executive functions of government, which are carrying out.
Yeah, Iraq Army Nigga says, respect to Donovan for admitting his limitations. Too many people pretend to know what they mean. Yeah, man. Like, dude, like, yeah, man. The one thing I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna pretend I know something I don't. That's just not what I do.
Like the administrative duties of the government.
Oh, but sorry, the wheels are kind of turning. So basically, you're saying that the average American thinks they have more influence than they do, but it's
Nick can't run for president because in order to be able to run for president, you have to be at least 35 years old.
Really all these people, and maybe that's why they've watered down and subsidized the education system so much, so the bureaucrats can have more control. Because if we don't understand it, if the average American doesn't understand what we're looking at, how would we vote differently?
There you go. That's exactly right.
Or really make changes.
Yeah, I think we're just getting dumbed down in general. I think like the average IQ is just getting lower. but yeah, I mean that's part of it. I mean,
well, about I figured about how they subsidized education in the 60s, so there's no real incentive for them to put out a better product.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially nowadays. But
there we go. Tanvir Singh says Nick is going to run for president in 2036. Okay, there you go.
So I don't know. I don't know if there's like a conspiracy to not teach civics.
Shakara Sanders says this is actually a good interview, especially if you're a political nerd, which I am. This is an interesting interview for me, and I'm not a political nerd.
In public schools, so they don't know. Because in high school, I took like an American government class, and they taught about the Iron Triangle and how it's about lobbyists and special interest groups. So I mean, people are told about this. It's just that. One, people don't care.
But there's no incentive from the schools to educate kids better when they're paid regardless.
Yeah.
Why would I create a better product if I get in the city of Chicago? I think they get $12,000 per kid, which my high school was a Catholic school and it was $8K per kid. So they get paid more, and it doesn't matter where. If they teach them poorly in a Catholic school, they pull the kids.
Right.
But they're stuck going there because they're assigned to the school by zip code. So it's like we're dumbing down Americans too.
Yeah. Well, the education system's a mess for many reasons, and that's one of them. And that's another area where I'm like a big government guy. I think the national government should take over education and make it very good. But what is required is a political will. I think that you, at the end of the day, just need the right people in leadership, as opposed to creating like the idea that we're going to create a system with an incentive structure and like that's going to solve all our problems. At the end of the day, you just need the right people in charge. You need very good people.
I'm a capitalist.
That's not unreasonable.
I think.
You are. I know.
Because it's like I'm thinking if I got paid $12K per kid, and I would find a way to educate those kids. Like, you get, I don't know, 30 kids in a class? Mm-hmm. But, I don't know, you can get 4 or 5. Like, that's a lot of money.
That's a shit ton of money,
smart
man.
people want to make money. You don't think so?
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I agree to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. I just think that in terms of uplifting society in general, because I thought a lot like you did, some time ago. But what I came to realize and think about is more like it just is about the people. Like, I never realized how far society's fallen in terms of, like, the great men and women.
All right, have a good day at work, Cigar Man.
Mostly men, though, of America 100 years ago. We're just not making men like that anymore. Because, when you think about, where are we going to get the guys that are going to build like things like the Hoover Dam? Where are we going to get the guys that are going to build the awesome things we used to build or invent the things we used to do that had the ingenuity and the creativity and the fortitude?
Yes.
They just don't exist anymore.
Well, not only that, Nick, is they're not allowed to exist. They're not allowed to exist. Like, it takes masculinity and masculine traits to be able to build, one of the 7 wonders of the world or 8 wonders of the world, right? If the Hoover Dam isn't one of the 7 or 8 wonders of the world, it should be.
The society cannot produce a great.
Lester Ingram says, I just can't. This is what everyone knows it is. Well, Lester, what is it that you can't do, number one? And what is it that everyone knows this is? Your thoughts?
Philosopher, a great artist, a great engineer. The society literally cannot produce that anymore.
Why?
Because the people have not been raised right. I think on a fundamental level.
Here we go. See, now he's talking about things that align with what we talk about.
Because of a lack of values.
Yeah.
Feminism.
A lack of everything. I mean, when you look at how people used to be raised.
Yeah, the Hoover Dam is incredible. Dude, Devin and I have we took a helicopter trip over the Grand Canyon. We flew right over the Hoover Dam. It was unbelievable. Cold Steel says, doesn't school sports still teach masculine traits? To an extent. But anytime a coach gets on their team about winning, that coach is chastised, right? Now we got ESPN talking about, well, XYZ coach yelled at XYZ player on the sidelines. What's going on with that? Huh? Coaches yell at their players all the time. Oh, there was a scuffle, there was a skirmish in training camp. What's going on? Dude, you got 300-pound men trying to move each other against their will. Tempers are going to flare. There's testosterone there. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong.
In churches and with discipline and all of that. And nowadays, it's just like a big free-for-all.
Yep. Well, and there's a lot of single mothers, too.
Oh, yes, there is.
And divorced kids. Like, it's not a stable environment for a lot of kids to grow up in.
But even for people that are married, it's so lackadaisical, and it's just like anything goes. There's no standards.
Nope.
And when standards drop, we know this about people. People become lazy.
Yep.
You know how it is.
People become lazy. So the average standard has dropped for the average woman to get sex. That's why men are lazy now with women, because they know they don't have to do very much to get the box. They know they don't have to do it very much to get the cheeks.
If you ask...
That's just an example of what he's talking about.
...highly of yourself, you'll perform highly. And so what happens when the...
Yes, and the participation trophies, exactly.
...entire country, when all these baby boomers say, our parents were mean, man, like, we just got to chill out and, like, take it easy. What happens? Society plummets. Like, we just fell off a 50-foot ledge. So that's why I'm a big believer in, like, the society has to change from the top to the bottom, not from the bottom up. In other words, I don't think you can create a system with incentives and society spontaneously gets better.
Dev, put it on the poll. Put it on the poll. This is a simple this is a simple question. At this point, have you heard anything from Nick Fuentes that would lead you to believe that he is a racist? Yes or no? Yes or no? Shaman B says, and you are looked down on for beating our kids. Yeah, corporal punishment.
Corporal punishment. Guys like Stefan Molyneux says, well, physically disciplining your kids is assault. All right. I disagree.
I think that you need a great leader like Putin, or like Trump.
Yeah, the standards for men have been raised. The standards for men have definitely been raised. But that's for long-term relationship potential. Short-term relationships in terms of just hooking up, yeah, the standards have dropped.
Mm-hmm. To get in there and put in great people in the government, and you need great people in the government to go into education and to go into business and these kinds of things. Fire all the bad people, bring in good people, and
But it goes back to who determines who's good and who's bad. And it also goes back to how do you incentivize the best people to go into those things? And to me, it's money.
The good guys just have to win.
The good guys want to make money. I'm thinking, oh, come on.
No, I'm with Pearl on this one. The good guys want to make money.
Come on.
No. The good guys are the guys, like, I'm a good guy. I'm one of the good guys.
You're a good guy.
If I'm not the good guy, I'm like a prophet of the good guys.
Okay.
That will come in the future, the new Caesar or whatever.
That's funny as he laughs at this, but he's like, Nick is very tongue-in-cheek a lot of times. That's funny.
But the only good guys that are going into industries, like, they would have to have money already, like Trump. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, he only went to run for president because, I mean, would he have done it if he wasn't a billionaire?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come from, like, good stock. It's going to come from, like, the elite. It will come from the American elite. Mm-hmm. From, like, a high IQ, beautiful person with probably resources. Mm-hmm. We need good people from the elite to do that to our society. I'm not, like, a believer that it's going to be, although you never know. Joseph Stalin came from Georgia, So
Stalin?
Yeah, because he took his country and took it from nothing and
the country of Georgia, not Atlanta, Georgia.
Turned it into an industrial nuclear superpower.
Didn't he commit a genocide?
That is what they say.
He didn't commit a genocide.
Here we go.
Well, I don't know, but
see, this is part of Nick's shtick, right? Joseph Stalin absolutely committed genocide. It's all documented very clearly. But Nick, knowing that, wait a minute, Joseph Stalin did not commit mass genocide? Oh my God, this is what he is. Shock value.
What do you mean you don't?
Look at Pearl. She's like, what are you talking about?
There's a lot of dispute about, was it intentional? Was it overstated?
Unintentional genocide? What?
How do you unintentionally commit a genocide?
Because he didn't really when they say it's a genocide, they say that what happened was he collectivized agriculture in Ukraine.
Okay.
So instead of having all these independent small farmers, he wanted the government to own large farms. Mm-hmm. I think it's been a long time since I read up on the Soviet history, but so he went in there and forced agriculture to be collectivized with these brutal 5-year plans, really high quotas, and it, didn't really work, and a lot of people starved and died from it. And so people then say, well, that was intentional. They were trying to kill all the Ukrainians. And I don't know.
This is ridiculous. Come on, man. Come on. He's not come on, man. This again. See, Nick he is just like Destiny. He's just like Destiny in that he can make an argument for or against anything. For or against anything. Destiny could convince a group of people that when you take a shirt and dunk it in the water and bring the shirt back out of the water, he can convince you that even though that shirt is soaked with water and dripping with water, he will convince you that that shirt is not wet. He can convince you of that. Nick appears to be the same. He appears to be doing the same thing. Not quite as insidiously as Destiny does, as Destiny uses a very deceitful tactic. He'll talk very, very fast and just brush over things as though it were the subjective truth to establish himself as the authority, and then try to backdoor you later on. That's just all he's doing. That's just all he does, right? Well, listen, we all know that Stalin created genocide. We know. But he's sitting here telling us, well, this is the reason why it may not happen. So what he's treating Joseph Stalin like is he's giving Joseph Stalin due process. Well, he's innocent until proven guilty. And basically he's, quote unquote, litigating it in front of a jury of Pearl. Okay, so you can make an argument that it may not have happened, but we all know it did. Joseph Stalin is guilty. But, Nick Fuentes is the defense attorney who is defending his client who he knows is guilty. That's just how this goes.
I don't know if it was intentional, and I think maybe it's overstated how many people died.
And he was an American? He was in Stalin. You said he was.
Oh boy, you said he's from Georgia.
From Georgia?
From the country Georgia. Oh.
Okay. See? Pearl is all, she knows everything about politics and blah, blah, blah. She's dumbing herself down. She didn't know Georgia was a country. She didn't know Georgia was a country. Okay, all right. Like I said, it's just that's it's either she's a genius or she's a dumbass. You can't have it both ways. Big Elvis, the Chief Rosenberg, with a $5 super chat. Come on. There we go. Appreciate that very much.
I was like, he's an American? Okay.
Yeah. Which is like the point is, it was like on the outskirts of, so he was really just kind of like an unimpressive guy. He was like 5'6". He walked with a limp.
I'm not having the water is wet discussion. You guys know exactly what I'm getting at. Stop it.
He was pockmarked. He was a criminal. He committed this like robbery on a train.
Infinity Pill says, I didn't realize you were racist, Donovan. I guess you learn something new every day.
Which he was very ashamed of. And he was from the periphery of the empire.
Spartan Existence says, can she name 3 countries? I don't know. I'm going to text her right now.
He didn't even speak Russian. He spoke Georgian. He was like a Georgian nationalist. And then after the revolution became the dictator and single-handedly took Russia and turned it into a superpower. There were a lot of casualties, no doubt. But, Russia was like a farm country, and it turned into the number 1 superpower in the world.
Okay. Ibn Zuhr says Stalin was born in Atlanta, Georgia. No, he wasn't.
Okay.
After World War II.
Wow.
So
that's a take I have never heard. I've never heard that take.
Well, because I'm banned on everything. Where would you?
Delilah says Stalin was from Buckhead. Oh my God! Yeah, right.
Hear it.
Okay, wait. So, do you deny the Holocaust? Is that a?
Well,
okay. So when you
we
say
prefer
wow,
the term revision.
No. Okay. Yeah, because I have here denies the Holocaust. That's on your Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Look, I mean, I made a Holocaust joke.
I need to. Do you think the Holocaust was real? Yeah. Yes or no?
Okay. Pearl just named 3 countries: Germany, Poland, and England. Oh my God. Germany, Poland, and England. So yeah, Pearl named 3 countries. Well,
it's not. It's a little bit more complicated.
I'll let you explain.
Here we go. So now Pearl is asking him straight up. Yo, do you think the Holocaust happened? Yes or no? Right? Do you think the Holocaust happened? Yes or no? And she's playfully doing this because she knows that Nick knows the Holocaust happened. But just like he was the defense attorney for Joseph Stalin not having committed mass genocide, in a playful way, she's doing the same thing. Come on, this is crazy.
I'll let you explain, but I need a yes or no.
All right.
Don't be like the modern women on the show.
No, it didn't. The way that they said it happened, it didn't happen that way.
Okay, so the Holocaust you don't think was real?
We all know it didn't really happen.
You say we all know? I don't think that the average person has ever heard this side. Okay,
that's true. You're right.
Okay, so now he says we all know it never happened. Okay, well, if he is a Holocaust denier, then I am definitely against that. I'm definitely against that. Do I think that Nick Fuentes is a racist because he denies the Holocaust? No. Let me think. Diocletian. In case you guys don't know who this is, Diocletian is one of the most brutal Roman emperors of all time. I think he slaughtered millions of Christians. I don't know if it was that much, but he slaughtered millions of Christians. Right? That's exactly what this is. Right? We know it happened. It's documented. We know this to be true. But if I were to come along and say, hey, you know what? I don't think Diocletian really mass crucified a bunch of Christians. Does that mean that I'm racist against Roman people? No. That just means that I'm saying that I don't believe that Diocletian was as bad as history says he was. That's it. And the way he just said, yeah, you know what's interesting? Tender Singh says, we prefer revisionist. Yeah, see? We prefer revisionist history. Dude, I don't know. Does he really believe the Holocaust never happened? I don't know. Man. I don't know. But look at the look on his face when he says it. Watch. It's almost like he enjoys getting reactions from people when he says crazy shit. Watch.
Right. Don't be like the modern women on the show.
No, I didn't. The way that they said it happened, it didn't happen that way.
Okay, so the Holocaust you don't think was real?
We all know it didn't really happen.
You say we all know? I don't think...
Look at him. We all know it didn't happen. I mean, listen, maybe he really believes it, maybe he doesn't. But I do know this. He knows that by saying the Holocaust didn't happen, he is going to get a certain reaction. He likes to say things for shock value, or he'll embellish things for shock value. That doesn't make him a racist, guys. Doesn't make him a racist. R with the 22 NZ says the propaganda runs deep with this issue. Questioning aspects of World War II and the Holocaust is highly illegal in most Western countries. There is compelling evidence supporting the revisionist side, but it is highly censored. Yeah, probably is. So let me go ahead and end the poll here. So 237 of you voted, and 74% of you said that you haven't heard anything that says Nick Fuentes is a racist. 25% of you are in your feelings. Assad M with the $2 super chat says, interesting conversation. Absolutely. Let's continue.
That the average person has ever heard this side. Okay.
That's true. You're right.
See, he's like, that's true. You're right. And that's why he's making this take.
Now, so when you say we all know,
I know. That was a joke. That was a little tongue-in-cheek.
Okay.
A little tongue-in-cheek. A little tongue-in-cheek. And by saying we all know the Holocaust didn't happen, he is in essence diffusing the bullseye. I'm not the only one that we all know. So he's not really admitting that he doesn't think the Holocaust never happened. This is wordplay, guys. Sorry, this is wordplay.
So you don't think the Holocaust happened the way they said it happened. What about all the Jewish people here that will talk about the internment camps? Anne Frank, you think they were just making that shit up?
Infinity Pill, who can't spell, says, Donovan, we demand a formal apology from you regarding this.
Oh, hell
no! No, I think there were concentration camps. There were concentration camps.
Okay.
And, and I think there probably were death camps. Like, I think people were killed.
Okay, death. Oh, all right. Okay, Nick. There were concentration camps and death camps. Guess what? That was a part of the Holocaust. Sorry, guys. Damn, I thought I had a bottle of water. In my fridge. Dev, if you would, bring me a couple of bottles of water.
In death camps?
Okay, so how did it not? Okay, that's what they said happened.
Okay, but what they say is like 6 million died. I don't think 6 million died.
Why? Why do you think that's...
Okay, he doesn't think 6 million died, but do you think 5 million died?
6 million did not die.
Because I don't think there's any...
Him saying that there were death camps and concentration camps, but no Holocaust, was like me saying that the Cleveland Browns beat the Cincinnati Bengals 37-24, but there were no there were no touchdowns. Like, look, the football game happened. The football game didn't happen. Donovan, there's video. Look, man, I mean, that could have been footage from another game, right? Jarrett says intellectually ingenuous. Exactly. That's just kind of how that works.
Basis for that number. I think that the most you get is like 2 million, maybe 3 million.
Big Elvis, the Chief Rosenberg, with the $5 super chat. Thank you. With the $5 super chat says, it sounds like you have your cape on for this Pearly thing. No, I do not. She is my friend, and I stand with her. See, that's another thing. That's another thing niggas like to do. Niggas like to call everything simping and everything caping. Donovan, you caped up for Myron. No, I defended Myron. Myron's my friend. Donovan, you're caping up for Pearl. No, I'm defending Pearl. Pearl is my friend. Sorry.
And you wouldn't qualify that as a genocide?
Well, I don't know that it was a systematic extermination.
You don't. Come on. See, again. I don't know that it was a systematic extermination. Again, it's just tricky word games.
Know that because they killed a lot of people. They murdered a lot of people.
Okay.
They murdered. And by the way, and I'm not like, oh, it's a great thing. It's a horrible thing. But the point is, horrible things were happening everywhere to everyone. It was a global war. So horrible things were happening in China, and horrible things were happening actually to the Germans by Eisenhower, who was the leader of the Allied forces in Western Europe. Americans ran concentration camps. Americans put the Japanese in internment camps.
That's true. We did do
that.
Know?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the Holocaust did not happen, Mr. Fuentes.
And Russians were running gulags. So
did they kill the Japanese in the intern? Because I didn't think they weren't like death camps.
No,
I mean, I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that's not a genocide.
Yeah.
If you're in an internment camp, it's wrong, but it's not a genocide.
My point is, though, you're right.
So because what you're describing, it still sounds like a genocide.
Okay. Yes, exactly. He said, okay, so there were concentration camps and there were death camps. But there was no genocide, no Holocaust. Dude, come on, man. Come on. That's like denying that a baseball game happened. Well, look, the baseball game didn't happen. Yes, okay, they kept score. Yeah, okay, they kept score. Pitcher X struck out 15 batters. Player Y hit 2 home runs, but there was no... I don't know that a baseball game was played. That's essentially what he is saying. He's saying, look, I know that the ingredients for a cake were put into the bowl, mixed, and put in the oven, but I don't know that it was a cake that came out of the oven. I don't know that there's a cake that came out of the oven. Come on, guys.
Thing is, I don't think it was a genocide.
I'm going to Google the definition of a genocide. Do you know what the definition is?
It's when you try to kill off a whole people.
Oh, okay. But
yes, yes, right.
You're saying it's not a genocide because they weren't trying to kill off a whole people?
Yeah, I don't think that there was ever a decision made like we're going to try and kill every Jewish person in Europe. I don't think that was.
So then why'd they take the Jews?
Well, they took Jews, gypsies, homosexuals, the disabled. They took some Catholics. They took a lot of Polish people because Jews were considered to be enemies of the Nazi regime.
Oh, okay.
So, and a lot of them were put in concentration camps and treated horribly, and I think they did towards the end of the war, specifically not authorized by Hitler, but there were fanatics that I'm sure were just executing Jews, and they were
Yep, just got told that I was an apologist for Pearl. No, I'm not. I'm not an apologist for Pearl. Pearl is my friend. Pearl is my friend, and I'm defending my friend. I'm not an apologist for Pearl. Guys, listen, man, you can call it whatever you want. You can call it me being an apologist. You can say that I'm caping up for her. Use whatever words you want, guys. But this is what friends do.
A lot of people, and it's not whataboutism or to minimize it, but what goes on is like this, ceaseless Holocaust Remembrance Day stuff. Remember the 6 million, and it's like, I'm not saying, you could even, I don't really even have a problem with calling it a genocide, actually. Mm-hmm. You can call.
Oh, there it is. Now he doesn't see, now he's coming out. He's like, okay, I'll go ahead and admit that it was a genocide. If you admit that it was a genocide, Nick, then guess what? The Holocaust happened, bruh.
That, but it's not the first and won't be the last genocide in the history of planet Earth. Mm-hmm. And again, it's not to say.
All right, you're welcome. You guys are welcome. A lot of you guys bitched and moaned about the fact that I don't open my chat up to the public. A lot of you guys bitched and moaned that I don't open up my chat to the public. I did. And so now it's members only.
It's not wrong or bad or horrible, but it's elevated to this level where we're kind of like basing our society around it in a way.
Okay, so it's kind of, you know what this reminds me of?
What?
The way they put American slavery as above all different types of slavery, almost.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. American slavery. American slavery. I will react to this portion live right after the break.
The third annual Conference of Masculine Excellence has just been confirmed. And for the second consecutive year, it will be held at a world-class venue in beautiful Miami, Florida. The posh surroundings and all of the amenities you can imagine will make this event an experience of a lifetime. The CME is focused on helping men to become the best version of themselves, improve in all areas of life, as well as maintaining solid, healthy relationships with their wives and girlfriends. Anything and everything that pertains to dominating life as a man here in the 21st century will be discussed extensively. As usual, your instructors will be an all-star cast of presenters. They will cover topics like financial literacy, health and fitness, mental strength, and much, much more. Included in your ticket is live access to all speeches and presentations, a seat at the live filming of the Six, and the opportunity to converse with the speakers themselves. How awesome would it be to shake hands with some of the most influential men in this community? Breakfast on both mornings is also included, as well as a 5-course meal at the Feast of Champions. As always, the feast will be held on Saturday night and will feature some of the best cuisine in the 305. VIP tickets are also available. Those tickets include priority front row seating for all presentations, entrance to the Cigar Bar VIP meet and greet, which includes an open bar, an exclusive VIP bag, and so much more. VIP tickets are limited, so get yours before they're sold out like they have been the last 2 conferences. Got a friend who wants to come with you? Got a girlfriend or wife who wants to attend? Are you a father who wants to bring your son? Are you a son who wants to bring your father? Take advantage of the +1 discount that gives you a whopping 55% off for your +1. Not applicable for VIP tickets, and your +1 must be 21 or older. Plus, as an added bonus, attendees who purchase their tickets before March 21st will get Donovan's revolutionary signature course, Womanese. That's right, guys. Every attendee who purchases their ticket within the next 2 weeks gets all 5 complete volumes of Womanese absolutely free. This course contains over 600 female translations. In addition to all of those translations, Womanese contains countless hours of instruction and explanation to make sure this invaluable knowledge will stick. This treasure trove of information and wisdom is a $700 value, but you will get it absolutely free if you purchase your ticket before March 21st. The third annual Conference of Masculine Excellence is now the undisputed official live event of the Manosphere. As always, the CME will be free of the backstabbing, infighting, and toxic leadership that has plagued other events. Donovan takes this event and the safety of his instructors and attendees very seriously. He simply will not embarrass himself or his community by engaging in the kind of behaviors that have made that other convention all but irrelevant. So if you've ever been on the fence about attending a men's conference, now is the time. If you allow yourself to be in the presence of true greatness and masculinity, you will come out the other side a better man with knowledge you will carry with you for the rest of your life. You owe it to yourself to take advantage of this incredible opportunity to increase your value and change your life forever. So join us in Miami, Florida, to join a tight-knit community of like-minded men who are focused on self-improvement and having great relationships with their women. Space is limited, so go to masculineexcellence.com to get your tickets now.
Welcome back to the 947th edition of TSR Live. Thank you very much for sticking around. Be sure to go to masculineexcellence.com to get your hands on CME tickets. As I said before, it is absolutely positively going to be capped at 100 attendees. 100 attendees, VIP tickets. There will be 25 VIP tickets. So be sure to get over to masculineexcellence.com to get your tickets today. Desert Haunter with the $5 super chat says, it's funny, but conversations that question things are the important masculine conversations. Look how quickly they are shut down. We must have them. I would agree. All right, let us continue with the breakdown.
Because I read Sowell, so he talks about, oh God, this is going to get me in trouble. How slavery was a global institution, and the word slave actually came from Slavic, which is white. And they don't talk about that slavery wasn't about race. So you're saying it wasn't, that the Jewish genocide wasn't about race.
Okay, so she's talking about something she read at this point. Let's just rewind this here. And listen again.
Level where we're kind of like basing our society around it in a way.
Okay, so it's kind of, you know what this reminds me of?
What?
The way they put American slavery as above all different types of slavery, almost. Because I read Sowell, so he talks about...
He talks about...
This is going to get me in trouble.
Yes, it is.
How slavery was a global institution, and the word slave actually came from Slavic, which is white. And they don't talk about that slavery wasn't about race. So you're saying it wasn't, that the Jewish genocide wasn't about race. It was just about...
Well, it was a little bit about race.
Okay.
Well, you think, Nick? Come on, man.
Okay, then...
What I'm saying is that...
Then how is it not a genocide?
Well, that's not my contention. My contention is...
I asked you if you thought it was a genocide.
I thought you said, do you believe it happened? Or if it was a genocide.
Okay.
Well, I said I don't know, because I don't know if...
See, here we go. Now we're splitting hairs.
It was really... I'm not like a Holocaust expert. I don't know.
Oh, there we are. I'm not a Holocaust expert, but I don't think it happened the way they said it happened. See, he's very good at making people... Because Pearl is asking him direct questions. But she doesn't get wrapped up in the emotions and start hurling accusations. She's like, no, wait a minute. Wait, let's just... Like, do you believe the Holocaust happened? Yes or no? She asked him directly. Then of course, now she's talking about all the elements. Well, there were killing camps, he admits. Yeah, well, there were, concentration camps. And Pearl is like, dude, how is that not genocide? How is that not genocide? And he says, well, wait a minute. You asked me if I thought it happened, not if I thought it was genocide. Now we're playing what Destiny calls tricky word games. He doesn't want to admit that he knows that the Holocaust happened because, well, that's off-brand. That's off-brand. If he says that if he admits, okay, the Holocaust did happen, then that would be that he would be betraying his fans, so to speak. Nick Fuentes knows the Holocaust happened. He indirectly just admitted it. He admitted that there were millions of Jews killed. He admitted that there were concentration and killing camps. He just doesn't believe that it happened the way they said it happened. The Holocaust happened. So Nick Fuentes has indirectly said the Holocaust happened, but not as many people died as they said they did. But he's just saying the Holocaust didn't happen the way they said it did. You guys got to read between the lines, man. You guys got to read between the lines.
That it
I
was
thought you were a Holocaust denier.
See?
I'm a revisionist.
There it is. See? I thought you were a Holocaust denier. Well, there you go. And he's like, no, revisionist. See that?
Okay, we prefer the term revisionist, but
there it is.
The thing is about it is, and this is what Ye was getting at too. Why is it that this is the fundamental point? Okay, because it's not even really about the history.
And if Nick Fuentes were racist, why would he work for Kanye West, who is black?
It's about why is this trauma elevated above everything else? Why is it that we all have to care about the Holocaust that happened 80 years ago in Poland? You know, why does that matter for me? Why do we have to have a Holocaust history museum on every block? You know, and when Ye said...
This is interesting. So Nick is asking a question. Why do we have to care about the Holocaust? Well, because a good portion of our population here in America are Jewish. Some of them are descendants of people who survived and or died in the Holocaust. Like, that's why. That's why. But Nick is saying, why do we have to have a Holocaust museum? Just by him saying that alone, oh my God, Nick Fuentes is a racist. He hates Jewish people. That's exactly what he wants you guys to think.
Look, the Jewish media is bullying me. What did they say? The Holocaust. This is just like the Holocaust. It's like, no, it isn't. You know, we're criticizing a very standard thing that goes on in powerful industries.
And they use the word anti-Semitic so they don't have to argue with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And why is anti-Semitism so unspeakably, you know, if you're considered an anti-Semite, why is that so bad? Because the last time that happened, the Holocaust
6 million
occurred.
Jews died, right?
And it's like, so the Holocaust is when I say it's a myth, I mean it in the sense of it's a story. It's the foundational myth of the entire, like, anti-racist.
See? Now he's explaining himself. It's a foundational myth. That's what he is talking about. He just sat here and admitted, and he didn't say it specifically, and he does that on purpose. But what he essentially just said is the Holocaust did happen. But the way it's being used as a political weapon, that's what makes it a myth. He knows the Holocaust happened.
Infrastructure.
There we go.
Because it all goes back to that. Why was Trump bad? Because he's like Hitler. What did Hitler do? The Holocaust.
The Holocaust, yep.
And you think this is pushed by the Jew group, like all the people in power that are Jewish.
That is how they evade any degree of scrutiny.
Yep.
Oh, so it kind of...
That actually works the same way with black people. Oh, yes, it does. That works the same way with black people. You see, anytime you are honest with the black community about itself, they like to call you racist. They like to call you racist. Right? They call you racist, a traitor, a coon, if you're a black man, right? They call you all of these things. It's the same thing.
Reminds me, because I think in systems, like, and I've noticed that there's certain systems that are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I don't know much about the environment, and like, this is going to sound like it's off base, but let me finish, okay? I don't know much about environmental stuff. But I know they're full of shit because the same rhetoric and like system they use is really similar to other industries that are full of shit. Mm-hmm. So, for example, like women's empowerment and women's, like, what's it called?
Suffrage.
Violence against women.
Suffrage, yeah.
And it's the same thing where like, this just sounds really similar. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah.
But
No, it makes sense. What she's saying is that the reason why we have this believe all women and all of these false EPAR charges is because of this false narrative that we've got 100 million rapists walking around waiting in woods to abduct and rape young women. That's what this is. Pearl is right on the money. She's making all the sense in the world.
It's like the same system where if you attack the argument in any way, they'll say you hate women.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing where you say, oh, if they attack the Jewish people at all, they'll say you hate
the
Jewish. But
people.
the difference is that Jewish people have more power. And it seems like they can make...
Because of the Holocaust. The Holocaust was worse. So now I see where this is headed. Which tragedy was the worst? Was it the way we treated women back in the day? Was it the Holocaust? Was it slavery? Which group? It's almost like this is the Victim Olympics. We had it the worst. No, we had it the worst. No, we had it the worst. No, 6 million Jews died. Yeah, but we had slavery. Yeah, well, women weren't allowed to vote until recently. Yes, just because you were done wrong in the past does not mean you cannot be held accountable in the future. You can't blame bad behavior on, yeah, well, there was slavery. Just because you can throw out the S word or the H word for Jewish people doesn't mean that the opposition does not have some sort of a point. That's just how it is.
Your life hell.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But it sounds like the same system that the environmental people use, where you don't care about the environment.
Yep.
And then they'll use some horrible thing that's going to happen. Like they would use the Holocaust, but the environmental people will say global warming.
There you go.
The women people will say, I don't know,
wow.
Great.
Yeah. There it is. Great. Dude. E-par culture. That's what it is. Anytime you hold women accountable for their promiscuous ways, oh, you're supporting E-par culture. Anytime you talk about how Atlanta has been overrun by hood niggas, oh, you're racist. That's how they do it. It's the same thing.
Whatever it is. But yeah, that sounds really similar.
Yeah, and that's really because the thing is, like, when people call me a Holocaust denier, they make it out like that's my job. Like, hi, like I go to weddings and parties, like, hey, I'm here to
hi, I'm Nick Fuentes. I'm a Holocaust denier.
Deny the Holocaust or something. Like, I don't even know anything really.
But you don't deny it.
No, not really, no.
I mean, you...
He says not really, no, there you go.
You agree that it happened, you just think it wasn't just Jewish people?
I just think they're like, I don't believe in the 6 million number. I don't believe in the gas chambers thing. I don't think that happened.
Okay. I mean, if he doesn't believe that doesn't make him an anti-Semite. Guys. That doesn't make him an anti-Semite. Just because he says, okay, look, the Holocaust happened, but I don't believe it was 6 million people. Okay, fine. What if it was 3 million? What if it was 8 million? Well, I don't believe in the gas chambers. Okay, fine. But there were, I don't know, but maybe there were guillotines and firing squads and all that good stuff. Like so he disagrees with certain elements of the Holocaust in terms of the historical accuracy, but he's not denying the Holocaust.
You don't believe in the gas chambers?
No, that's fake.
What?
There it is. Look at his face. He's like, yeah, let me get that reaction.
That's totally fake.
Okay.
Big Elvis, the Chief Rosenberg, says, Donovan, you are better than this. That woman is not your friend. Trust your inner self. Stop this, please. Why is Pearl not my friend? Big Elvis, because she's white? Is that why? Pearl Davis is not my friend because she's white and I'm black and she hates black people? Okay.
That just sounds like ridiculous. Because think about it this way. You have
look how he smiles as he explains this. He loves this. He loves it when people are surrounding him with their jaws dropped. You what? No, stay with me. This is what he gets off on, guys. This is who he is.
War going on. This
look how he smiles. He loves this.
It's like, this is Hollywood stuff. So the idea is they created a chamber that looked like a shower, and then when they got in, they locked the doors. Surprise, we tricked you. Actually, that just, to me.
How does he know? Right? How does he know? He wasn't there. But even still, it doesn't matter. That doesn't make him racist. That doesn't make him anti-Semite.
Just sounds like Hollywood, and there's no evidence that existed. Like, because you go to the remaining death camps.
All right, fine. Okay, so you don't believe in the gas chambers. Fine, whatever.
I believe were like destroyed, and then 2 of them remain, and they don't even have anything that resembles that. The stuff that they say that they used as a gas chamber, they used Zyklon B. Zyklon B gas was a delousing agent. They would bring in the clothes, and the disease was rampant at that time. It's a prison. It's like all these people are stuck together, and there was a war going on. People would get typhus, and they'd get sick, so they would delouse the clothes. And so they put clothes there, and they'd use Zyklon B as a chemical agent to clean the clothes. And then decades later, they said it was a gas chamber to industrially kill people. I just think that's a load.
Why would they make this stuff up?
So to make it more compelling. That's why they make movies about it. That's why they write these dramatic,
Schindler's List,
fictional accounts of it.
But don't they have people that were actually there that could speak on it? Do they not talk about it?
No, they because all the people that
come on, there are Holocaust survivors.
They didn't survive the gas chamber. They just talk about people. They talk about things they saw when they were like little kids, and they didn't even understand what was going on.
See, again, this is a defense attorney, right? Maybe there were gas chambers. It's almost like this is the defense attorney who says who is cross-examining an eyewitness, right? A witness gets on the stand and says, I saw the suspect shoot the victim and run away. Now, the defense attorney is going to be like, okay, you said you saw the victim. Where do you live? I live at Maple Street Apartments. Okay, and what floor do you live on? I live on the 7th floor, counselor. Okay, and what time of day was it? About 9:45. At night? Yes, at night, counselor. So, from the 6th floor, you recognize my client. From the 6th floor, at 9:45 at night, when it's dark, you recognize my client shoot the victim. Is it possible, Mr. Witness, that you may have mistaken my client for someone else? I suppose anything is possible. You wear glasses. Am I right? Yes, I wear glasses. Why do you wear corrective lenses? Well, because I'm nearsighted. Did you have your glasses on when you looked out the window? I can't remember. So you can't remember whether you had your glasses on. You're nearsighted. So for the sake of argument, if you didn't have your glasses on, you can't definitively and conclusively say that you really saw my client shoot the victim. Now, can you? That's what this is. That's what this is. He's like, well, look, man, I don't think the gas chambers happened. Pearl says there are Holocaust survivors. He goes into defense attorney mode. Okay, they survived, but they were little kids. They didn't really know what a gas chamber was, so we can't really say that gas chambers existed. That's all he's doing here, guys. He's playing these tricky word games. He's playing and he's playing all of you. He's playing everybody. Dude, Nick Fuentes 1,000% knows the Holocaust happened. But he likes to pick apart certain elements of the stories that have been told for shock value. That's all that you can see it on his face when he explains this stuff. He looks gleeful.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's also this thing where if you look at
I don't think any adults made it out. None.
All the survivors we hear today, no, that's one. And two, I think that with a lot of them, they embellish the story. Because if you look, there was a survey that was...
He said, I think they embellish the story. I think. Just because he thinks they embellish the story of the Holocaust, which, by the way, is possible, right? I'm sure certain things about the Holocaust may or may not have been embellished in... Okay, fine. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. But if you as a person thinks that they embellish some parts of the Holocaust, that doesn't make you an anti-Semite. That doesn't make you an anti-Semite. All Nick is doing is like Roderick Thomas did. All he's doing is making an argument for reasonable doubt. That's it. That's it.
Done in Israel of Holocaust survivors, and there was like an absurd number of them that said that they were operated on by Joseph Mengele, the Nazi scientist. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, did like millions of people get operated on by this guy, or did they just like come up with that? Is that just something that happened in their imagination? And I think that with a lot of it, that's what's going on, because there is no like hard evidence that there were gas chambers.
Why would they make that up?
Like I said, that's why they make...
Sheldon Ross with the $5 super chat says, he does bring up a good point. I've heard about the chambers, but never actually looked into it to see if they actually 100% existed. Whether the gas chambers existed or not is immaterial. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how... it doesn't matter how all of these Jewish people were killed. It matters that it matters that they were killed. So let's just say that, guess what? It's been debunked. There were no gas chambers. That doesn't mean that 6 million Jews didn't die on the watch of Adolf Hitler. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. And just because somebody makes a defense attorney style argument to try to cast some reasonable doubt does not make them a racist, and it doesn't mean they completely deny that the Holocaust existed. That's all this is. Yeah, Roger Thomas says Nick needs to be a lawyer. Yeah, he speaks like one.
That's why they make boy in the striped pajamas.
Pajama boy.
It's the Jewish people in the media.
It's about creating this narrative.
I think it was Pajama Boy. I might be wrong about that.
That the Jewish trauma is the worst trauma that anyone's ever had.
The Victim Olympics.
They do that with Roots, because Roots, the founder of Roots said, or the guy who made Roots said in quotes, "I wanted to make a myth for my people to live by." That was the.
She just said something that the writer of Roots said. I want to create a myth that my people... Let's listen to that again. These are not words from her. She says, quote,
anyone's ever had.
The same way they do that with Roots, because Roots, the founder of Roots said, or the guy who made Roots said in quotes.
In quotes, the guy who did Roots said in quotes,
I wanted to make a myth for my people to live by.
I wanted to make a myth for my people to live by. That's not what Pearl said. That's what she said that the writer of Roots said.
Yeah. That was the quote that he used. So, that kind of sounds similar. It's like the system. It's the same system.
Well, and here's what the Jews say.
I don't see anything racist about what Pearl just said. I don't see anything racist about what she just said. She just quoted what the author of Roots said. I wanted to make a myth for my people to live by. She's not denying that slavery ever existed. She's not.
What they say about the Holocaust. They say, and they will literally, like, for example, in the Ukraine war, Zelensky said, this is like the Holocaust. And the state of Israel came out and said,
there we go.
That's anti-Semitic. You cannot compare it to the Holocaust.
See, there it is. There it is. This is the same thing, not black people, not black men, but this is the same thing niggas do when you're winning an argument against them. Yeah, but slavery.
Because it's part of their belief that the Holocaust is literally the worst thing that ever happened.
Right. Maybe that's why black people hate Jewish people so much. Maybe black people hate Jewish people so much because they out-victim them. It's because they out-victim them. This is absolutely crazy. Pearl literally just said, and when she said they, she didn't mean black people. She meant the narrative pusher, the liberals, the SJWs. They say that slavery was the worst thing ever. You see, black people think slavery was the worst thing ever. Jewish people think that the Holocaust was the worst thing ever. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong, guys. They were both bad things. But what Pearl just said there does not rise to racism, y'all. She quoted what the author of Roots quoted. This is literally the Victim Olympics. This is crazy.
Why? They say because it was an industrial extermination of the Jewish people. And so is that specifically industrial horror aspect of it, the idea that they were using modern technology, a gas chamber, this deception, this trick, and the Nazi scientists and all this. So it's all of that is part of creating this extremely compelling narrative that they were the victims of the worst thing ever. And who did it? The Nazis.
There you go.
Who did it? This guy that believed in white people. And so as a consequence, what can we never have? We can never be proud of our heritage as white people. We can never say things like America or Europe should be white places. We can never have a strong, charismatic leader. Like, all those things are no longer allowed because Hitler did the worst thing ever. And, as a consequence, things like having a strong, charismatic leader are actually good for a country.
Of course.
That's actually a good thing.
Of course.
Who does it benefit to have a system where there's no strong nationalistic leadership? It benefits people on the margins.
When he says nationalistic, people lose their minds when they hear about that. I don't call them nationalists. Maybe they are nationalists by definition, but these are just people. These are just people that want to preserve their culture. That's it. White nationalists. Okay, fine. Listen, if you want to be a white nationalist, that's fine. It is what it is. If you want to see your people thrive for hundreds and hundreds of years, yeah, I can understand why you might have a problem with immigration. That doesn't mean it's going to stop immigration, but I get it.
Mm-hmm. It benefits immigrants, religious and ethnic minorities. It benefits those types of groups. Now, that's fine. Okay, I think that religious and ethnic minorities should be treated with tolerance and respect. I'm not against.
Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? Listen to this again. Listen to this again. And this again gets lost in translation.
Okay, I think that religious and ethnic minorities should be treated with tolerance and respect.
I think that ethnic and religious minorities should be treated with tolerance and respect. That doesn't sound like racist rhetoric to me, guys. Doesn't sound like racist rhetoric to me, guys.
I'm not against that. But what has been created is something where anyone who is against an open, totally liberal international society is branded as Hitler.
There you go.
If you want to close the borders, you're Hitler.
Oh, that's so true. That's really true. Wow, because they really painted Trump as racist for wanting to close the border.
Yep, there you go.
That's a basic, why would you not want to close the border?
Do you see? It's common sense. I want to close the borders too, guys. I don't want to have open borders. I think that people should go through the proper channels and the proper system to become a nationalized citizen of this country. Open borders is what will cause this massive rapid erosion of American culture. That's what Nick is talking about, and I agree with that. I am not against immigration, guys. If you want to come to America, great, but you got to go through the proper channels. You got to go through the proper channels. I don't care, dude. Racial diversity does not bother me. It does not bother me. But you got to do it the right way. You can't just come to America. You got to do it the right way.
That's not even.
That's just like a no-brainer.
And the crazy thing is, hearing the liberals try to say it's like it's a wall.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know why that would be controversial.
Yeah.
Is a wall more effective than no wall?
Right, yeah.
There you go.
Well, and they say they're for border security, but just no wall. Why?
Yes, what are we going to do, shoot people?
It's a physical structure to prevent people from entering.
At least a fence. Can we get a fence?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but that would be okay. And so, but that's really...
Tony Esquire says, from what I've heard, Pearl is living in her mid-20s. Expecting the women to be 100% correct on all things racist related is unreasonable. Exactly, dude. Exactly.
That's what the Holocaust thing to me is really about. At the end of the day, I don't really care about the history of it. What matters is they have created, the history matters because they embellish it to the point of saying it's the worst thing ever, and therefore society can never be the same. Mm-hmm. We have to, because think about it. World War II happens, right, and the old world is destroyed. When I talk about the old world, I mean the old Europe, the old America, this old idea of having kings and queens, this old...
What do you mean? Well, we were in a democracy here.
America was.
Yeah, so right, not here, but...
But in Europe, you still had these vestiges of royalty and autocratic leadership. Even like in Russia, they killed the Tsar, but they had a tyrannical leader. Mm-hmm. In Germany, they had a Kaiser, then they had Hitler. In France, France had been democratic for a long time. But so World War II, the empires, all the colonies become independent, the empires are over, the monarchies are over, the idea of having like a cohesive society is over, and over the last 70 years, it's liberalization, it's globalization, immigrants are brought in.
What do you mean when you say globalization?
Globalization meaning like...
Good question. I know what he's talking about, but he's going to explain it.
Number one, you have all this international trade. Immigration is a big part of globalization. Yep. You have all these...
In other words, globalization is making the globe... They want to make as much of the globe one way as possible. It's almost as though people who are globalists, they want all cultures to be melded and mixed together. And there are just some people who are like, you know what? No, I like my Venezuelan culture. I like my Irish culture. I like being Australian. I like that Italians have certain cultural, bedrocks. I like that the United States has cultural bedrocks. White people are the only people that are not allowed to preserve their culture simply because they were born in the majority.
Because this is
Secondhand Truth says, you even have property lines which you can physically protect when you buy land. Exactly. I'm not opposed to letting people into my house, right? But I'm not just going to leave my door open for people to just come and go when they please. No. I'm going to screen you. I'm going to verify you. I'm going to okay, cool. You seem cool. Come on in. That's what this is.
Been going on in Europe since the 50s and 60s, actually.
Oh, so you're saying that was the end of Europe being one way,
yeah,
and America being one. That was when more immigration happened, and the culture. We sort of lost the culture.
Yeah, because the lesson of World War II, based on the horrors of the Holocaust, is like, this is what happens when nationalism goes awry. This is what happens when nationalism goes too far.
But your argument was the Holocaust was not special, and all countries have done that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so you're saying, why is the Holocaust special?
Yeah.
The Holocaust is special because, I don't want to call it special. The Holocaust, the more terrible, the more tragic it is, the more special it is. And I don't know, I think Pearl used the wrong word there. Like, there's nothing special about the Holocaust. But there's nothing special about the Holocaust, guys. But I think what Pearl was saying, the reason why the Holocaust is looked at as sort of the benchmark in terms of, genocide, dictators, and all this and all that good stuff, is because of the volume of people that were killed, the way that they were killed, and the guy that ordered all the killings. It's one of the worst events in U.S. history. That's why. Peter B. with the $5 super chat says, loving this perspective. Appreciate that, Peter.
Basically.
Oh.
See?
Okay, what do you mean, basically?
Well,
do you see how Pearl continues to quiz? She knows that the word basically means, yeah. Okay, essentially, basically. Pearl does not want to leave any stone unturned. Like, if you tell a girl, if you ask a girl, hey, have you cheated on, have you been faithful to your boyfriend? Yeah, basically. I've basically been faithful to him. You're going to be like, whoa, what do you mean basically? Right? It's either yes or no. So now Pearl is asking, okay, well, wait a minute. What is this basically stuff? Let's fill in the blanks here.
I mean, because of course, we're getting into the details of it, but yeah, that's the gist.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, but you kind of deny it happened.
Yeah, I deny some of the parts of it.
There it is. I deny some of the parts of it, but he doesn't deny that it happened. There you go. All it takes is an objective interviewer to ask the right questions, and you will get the answers. That's all there is to it. Pearl systematically, and she's not some psychological savant. She was asking questions, basic questions. Wait a minute. You're telling me that there were not millions of Jews killed in Poland? Yes or no? And she said, no. I don't want to hear anything. I need a yes or no answer. She tried to, and she essentially Sharpe-angled him. And finally, he just had to say, okay, look, I know concentration camps were there. I know that they were killing camps, right? Okay, I'm not going to necessarily deny the Holocaust. We call ourselves revisionist. Okay, well, there you go. He doesn't deny the Holocaust. Okay, so he questions whether or not gas chambers were used in the Holocaust. Okay, fine. If they were, Nick is wrong. If they are not, then guess what? They still killed a bunch of Jewish people. That doesn't make him a racist or an anti-Semite for doubting one of the elements of the Holocaust. This is incredible.
Parts of it don't seem realistic to you. You think they were embellished upon.
I think they're embellished, yeah.
The same way. This sounds...
Uh-oh.
Oh, gosh.
Uh-oh.
They're going to be...
Oh, boy. Here we go. Look at Pearl. Oh, I'm gonna meme this. Oh, Pearl. This is the look on your face when you know you're about to step in shit. She knows she's about to step in shit. Here we go.
This sounds similar to the slavery stuff too. Because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do, is they embellish. And I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible. It was.
Right.
But they want to make it like more horrible so that they can control people in a way. And that it sounds really similar, because even with the
she can't do it.
YouTube.
Come on, Pearl.
But even with like the slavery stuff, like that's what they'll do, and they won't talk about instances of like slaves traveling across states. Like when they initially freed the slaves, there were some slaves that felt so indebted to their owners that they would travel across states to pay them back, and they actually had a really good relationship with them. But they act like that wasn't possible, and it was still wrong. It wasn't a good institution.
Right.
But they don't talk about like the more nuanced things that happened in slavery. And like, I forgot what founding father, but they were talking about how really like he inherited slaves, and he actually had a really good relationship with them. He didn't make any money off the farm, but it was like if he freed them, they would all, what would they do?
Right.
And so he kind of looked at it as, I have to take care of them, and he wasn't even making money off of the farm. But you know, then they say you're like, even now I'm like, oh gosh.
Well, and that is something that happened when that was one of the big arguments against the abolition of slavery, is that a lot of them would just die.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know how to get along independently.
Okay, so was that the crime she committed, guys? Is that why everybody thinks Pearl is racist? Is this why everybody thinks Pearl is racist? Because she says that black people embellish slavery? Is this why people think she's racist? She said it 2 or 3 times. I'm not saying it wasn't horrible. I'm not saying it wasn't horrible, but just like the guy of Roots said, hey, listen, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So now we have a historian of slavery, the guy that wrote Roots, saying, hey, I created a myth. But when Pearl comes along and says, yeah, you know, maybe there were some elements of embellishment, which, by the way, is possible. It's not impossible that some elements of slavery may have been embellished. Does that mean it wasn't horrible? Of course not. And while they may have embellished some things about slavery, there might have been some things about slavery they even downplayed. Okay, so they embellished certain things about slavery. Maybe or maybe not. Maybe they did or didn't. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But you better believe that there were some elements about slavery that they have definitely downplayed. Pearl repeating what the author of Roots said, and then saying to herself, you know what, I understand where Nick Fuentes is coming from. They use the worst event in that race's history as sort of a shield from any criticism or anything. You criticize black people, you're racist. How am I racist? Well, we were slaves. We had it worse than you did. Jewish people, same thing. You're anti-Semite. Why? Well, I don't think that 6 million Jews died. I think only 5. Oh my God, you're anti-Semite. I don't think the gas chambers existed. Oh, you hate Jewish people. No, that's not what that means at all. That is not what that means at all. When the Titanic sank back in 1912, how many people died? Like 3,000 people died, right? And I'm thinking most of them are white. You know, the RMS Titanic. If I were to come out and say, you know what? Look, man, I know the Titanic sank. It's at the bottom. It's at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. But I don't think it was that bad. They said the split cracked into... Nah, I don't think that happened. I think there were a couple of holes poked into the hull, and it just kind of went down little by little. It wasn't as all dramatic as it was with the Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet movie. Does that make me racist against white people? Does that make me a Titanic denier? No! No. That's exactly what Pearl is getting crucified for just talking about one of the elements, or for talking about the fact that there are elements of slavery that may or may not have been embellished for the sake of victimization and, compelling Hollywood screenplays. Admitted by the author of Roots. Hey, man, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. Yeah, Devin says, well, the water wasn't that. Yeah, the people froze to death. People froze to death. I don't believe that. No, I don't think they froze to death. The water wasn't that cold. Oh, my God, you hate white people. You hate white people because you said that the water in the Atlantic Ocean, when the Titanic sank, you think the water was 74 degrees. And I'm telling you, it was 50 degrees. You're racist against white people. Right? That does not make her a racist. And these idiots out here talking all this trash, they know it doesn't make her a racist. They already didn't. You want to know why? You want to know why Nigatube? You want to know why Nigatube pretends to hate Pearl? Because she is whooping their asses up and down YouTube and using black people to do it. Pearl is utilizing black people better than black people. I hate to break it to you, but that's not an indictment on her. No, that's an indictment on us. That's an indictment on us as black people. These dudes are mad at Pearl that she is kicking their asses all up and down YouTube and doing it with the very people they purport to defend. That's what they're really upset about. A white woman is using black people to kick the asses of black people on YouTube. Sorry. It's the truth. That's really why you niggas are mad. That's really why you niggas are mad. Y'all are mad that a white girl is kicking your ass up and down YouTube and on every platform and using black people to do it. That's a you problem, y'all. That is 1,000% a you problem.
And that did happen for generations.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's actually one of the reasons that why American blacks have a higher average IQ than African blacks on average. And they say that that's because a lot of them just straight up died after the Civil War.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because they couldn't get along.
Wow, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, and it is comparable to the Holocaust. And the important thing is, and it's like you said, they come at you with this narrative of whether it's feminism or racism. Mm-hmm. If you disagree, oh, well, you hate them.
Yeah.
Yep,
or you're a horrible person.
Not even if you disagree. If you call one of the elements into question, you hate women, you hate black people, you hate Jewish people. Yeah, this is weak. This is weak, man. This is weak. Cigar Man says they want to be the 1 million channel, the 1 million sub channel, just like KS, so they hate on Pearl. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They know Pearl is not a racist, y'all. They know that Pearl is not a racist. Pearl, she's attracted to black guys. Well, you can be racist and not be attracted to and be attracted anything to support your argument. So let me get this straight. She hates black people, but she dates them? You serious? Are you kidding me? How can she be racist against black people if she prefers black guys? Ay. Jaybird Third with the $20 super chat says, wow, so this is what they're all in such a righteous spit about? Pearl was asking nuanced questions, not stating her own views. It's obviously in context, but they all conveniently dropped the context. I wonder why. Tony Esquire, $5 super chat says, this isn't one sports fan. Oh, wait. There isn't one sports fan who either recited or spread some inaccurate stats before. Pearl apologized for not being 100% prepared. She's cool with me. Exactly. Guys, Pearl has done nothing wrong here. She has said nothing wrong. Nothing that her or Nick has said to this point leads me to believe that any of them are racist. This is all taken out of context. And I know that's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is what Nigatubes got their panties in a bunch over? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ay, 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 ay. Niggas, man. Niggas. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. God almighty. Oh boy. Let me read a few more of your chats here. King Life says Pearl should have said, "Suck my future chocolate man's dick." That would be very funny. Ibn Zur says the words you can never talk about in American discourse: anti-Semitism and slavery. That's exactly right. If you're white, you can't talk about it. At least that's the rule. You're a white person, so you can't have an opinion on black culture. Sure you can. Well, you're a white person, so you can't have an opinion on slavery. Sure you can. I wouldn't recommend saying anything like that because you know that Nigatube will indeed take everything out of context. But guess what? That doesn't mean she can't have an opinion on it. This doesn't mean that she can't talk about it. Pearl has every right to talk about whatever she wants to. She has every right. She has every single right to interview whoever the hell she wants to interview. And she does not need anyone's permission, least of all Nigatube. The less fucks you give about Nigatube, the better off you will be. Let's just call a spade a spade. The L Factor, $10 super chat, says people always saying Pearl shouldn't talk about black issues. Relationships aren't just a black issue. Brad, Lee, Ahmed, Keith, and Enrique all have to deal with feminism.
It's a no for me, dog.
Devin says MTR really fumbled this one and killed a lot of future opportunities. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, dude. And I like MTR. I think he's a good guy. I would not have done what he did. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm not gonna come on here and talk shit about someone who hasn't talked shit about me. I'm not gonna do that. Not gonna call him weak. I'm not gonna call him any of that because I don't believe that he is. I think he's a good guy. I think he's well intentioned. I just would not have done what he did. And listen, we're two very different people, and so we're gonna have two very different approaches on this stuff. This is just how this goes. But I agree with Dev. He is really, yeah, because, dude, Pearl's on a rocket ship, y'all. She's on a rocket ship. She's not going anywhere. Look, all you guys think, oh, she's done after this. Guys, Abba and Preach did, 2 or 3 hit piece videos on me. I'm still here, man. I'm still here, dude. I just think it's, I find it pathetically transparent. This reaction. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Just Pearly Things is a racist. Look, before I end this, can somebody tell me who Jason Black is? So, can somebody tell me who Jason Black is? Can you tell me what he looks like, what he stands for, et cetera, et cetera? I'm sure he's great and all, but I just don't know. A lot of you guys are saying that Jason Black and O'Shea are the ones leading the charge here against Pearl. I know who O'Shea is. I don't know who Jason Black is. So somebody, dude, Donovan Sharpe, ROK@gmail.com. Just tell me who he is. Just tell me who he is. Nasty Nab says, I saw the title of the vid. I thought he was goofing off. I mean, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Ibn Zur says MTR was under pressure to make that, quote, accountability video. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I got some of the same messages. Donovan, are you going to talk about how Pearl did X, Y, and Z? Yep, sure am. Sure am. And guess what? Pearl did absolutely nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong. She said nothing wrong. But when niggas tell the truth, Or I'm sorry, but when people tell the truth about the black community, they point, oh, racism. Fuck out of here. Let's see. Yeah, Cold Steel said only 2 to 3 million. Yeah, whatever. Who knows? Devin earlier said this is a terrible hill to die on. I agree with that. I agree with that. Like, come on, Nick. Like, dude, don't. Dude, dying on the apologist, not apologist, but dying on the whole, Holocaust, the Holocaust didn't really happen. That's stupid. He's not going to die on that hill. He's not dumb. He knows exactly what the hell. He knows exactly what's up. He knows the Holocaust happened. He just likes to deny certain elements of the Holocaust to get a rise out of people. That's just what he does. That's just what he does. Ryan Cranston says a cherry pie might have came out that oven. Yeah, maybe. Not sorry says he didn't say it. It didn't happen, Donovan. I didn't say. I agree. I agree 100%, man. I agree 100%. So, Pearl is going to put me in contact with Nick. Oh, wait a minute. The L Factor with the $5 super chat says you could crush Jason Black in a debate. Oh, he's a race hustler. Peter B, $5 says Jason Black is a pro-black race hustler / relationship coach. Okay, so basically he's another O'Shea. He's basically another O'Shea. Dick Maximus with the $5 super chat says, saw Obsidian's panel with Pearl and realized the criticism was cap. By the way, Jessica X called you the evil Steve Harvey. I'll take it. That's awesome. That is awesome. The evil Steve Harvey. I actually was on a panel with her briefly a few months ago, and I forgot what it was about, but she made a statement about relationships, and I just blew her out of the water. It was funny. I was like, Jessica, come on, man. Like, your British accent, though very, very entertaining. That's why Jessica X is so... It's because she has that accent. But, yeah. Listen, I like a lot of her talking points, but I mopped the floor with her when I was on with her. It was actually quite easy because, well, she acted like a woman. Ay. I like the evil Steve Harvey, though. That is fucking great. That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. Thank you. Anyway, so Pearl is going to put me in contact with Nick Fuentes, and I'm going to do a one-on-one, face-to-face interview with him, and just see what all the fuss is about, man. Just to see what all the fuss is about, and so I think that'll be very, 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 very interesting. No TSR live tomorrow. No dating show breakdown tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, but I will be heading to Minneapolis. I'll be heading to Minneapolis, Minnesota, to tape episode 14 of the hashtag How to Relationship podcast. We're going to tackle the topic of sugar babies, sex workers, interracial relationships, and so on and so forth. Episode 13 is still in production. I don't think it's going to be ready in time for Saturday, but that's okay. Once we start churning these out, it'll be a regular thing, and we're actually going to start putting out casting calls for the greater Philadelphia area as well. So stay tuned for those. I know a lot of people. I know you guys were looking forward to. I know you guys were looking forward to seeing episode 13, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen this Saturday because I'll be on the road. Now, the reason why The reason why I'm leaving for Minneapolis tomorrow instead of Friday is because there was a $400 difference. There is a $400 difference in my ticket between leaving on Thursday and leaving on Friday. Or, not leaving, but getting there on Thursday, flying out Friday. Like, dude, to fly out there one way, it was like on a Friday, it was like $440, $450 more. So just for kicks and giggles, I actually saw it. There's like, oh, wait a minute, that's $400 less, right? So the money that I save from the traveling on Friday is more than the extra money that I'll have to spend staying an extra night. So, yeah, I'll be out there for an extra day. I only know 4 people in Minneapolis, and that is the Failsafe. The music that you guys hear, Jesse, Kieran, Kaio, and Chad. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to the Failsafe. Other than that, I've been to Minneapolis, but it's been like 20 years. It's been like 20 years. So looking forward to that. Very much looking forward to that. Pardon me. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for the clips and all to come out from episode 13 and episode 14. Very much looking forward to filming everything. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram at Donovan Sharpe TSR, as well as on Twitter at Donovan's Den. Make sure you scoop up my newest free ebook, Dead Bedroom, The Cure for a Sexless Relationship. Just go to tsracademy.com/free, plug in your very best email, follow the instructions, and watch your relationship go from the desert to the rainforest. That is going to do it for this, the 947th edition of TSR Live. My thanks to all members, patrons, Sharpe Stream members, and Super Chatters. Have a great weekend, guys. I'll see you next time.